Hello and welcome. I'm your host, William Liu. You are listening to the Hello and Welcome podcast presented by Betway. Joining me on this Wednesday afternoon in Toronto is my co-host, Alex Wong, and the hottest free agent in the NBA market right now. Everyone says NBA free agency is dead. It's not dead. The Milwaukee Bucks, well, actually, it might have just put on $20 million of dead cap onto their space, but the biggest free agent still out there, Joe Wolfond, writer at large for the current moment. What's going on, dog?
Not much, man. I heard people were writing in, thinking I was dead, so I had to make an appearance and let people see my face and know that I'm alive and well and, still have basketball thoughts rattling around my very alive brain.
Oh, yeah, man. The Gylon Poppy is here, man. I call Joe my bae because I would give you my biannual exception any day, my brother. And you be working at Lumen the way you're handling that severance right now. So, shouts to you, Joe. We love you.
Yeah, because of you famously eating Gylon courtside, I believe it wasn't even Thomas and Mack. It was Cox. It was Cox Pavilion, which only is attended by deep fans of the game and also just scouts and media members. You were sitting courtside eating a box of just nothing but pure Gylon, and we came up with the nickname Darius Gylon for you. So.
I forgot about that. That's a perfect nickname.
Yeah, you're a big Darius Garland fan too, so it's good.
Yeah,
I love it.
Damn.
Okay, this is what we're going to do today on this show, okay? First off, I wanted to get both of your thoughts on some of the minor moves that the Raptors made yesterday. Then I wanted to look at the Raptors. They're honestly, most likely they're done kind of for the offseason, but I do think they probably need to make one more move, whether that's just to balance out the roster or just to get under the luxury tax, because the Raptors will be slightly over the luxury tax. Afterwards, we'll look around the league and just check out which teams actually made real improvements, especially in the Eastern Conference. Everyone talked about how this summer there's an opening, the East is open. Which team in the East is actually going to capitalize on that opening? But let's start with the Raptors stuff. Joe Wolfond, I'll start with you, man. Raptors yesterday make two moves. They signed Sandro Mamu Kelashvili to a 2-year deal. Second year is a player option. And then, of course, the bigger news item is that they signed Jakob Poeltl to a 4-year, $104 million extension. More details came out on that. So basically, Jakob is going to pick up the player option at the end of his contract, not this season, but the following season. And also, according to various reports, apparently only $5 million of the last year of the Jakob extension is actually fully guaranteed. There's some sort of weird escalation bonuses that I'm sure Bobby and Dan Tolzman really went out of their way to throw into the contract. Joe, what did you make of the Raptors moves yesterday?
I was pretty down the middle, honestly, kind of classic Raptors front office. I feel like the taking a flyer on a guy like Mamu, I actually kind of like, especially just given how thin they are in the front court. And I think he's a guy who's shown some interesting enough flashes that's a flyer that I'm interested in, that I'd kind of, like to see how it plays out. And then it's in Raptors front office fashion, I feel like you tack the player option on there to maybe tamp down the price a little bit, give the player the optionality. I haven't loved it in some of the ways that they've done it, some of the deals they've done it in the past. I feel like generally they've been giving out player options more liberally than a lot of other front offices have done.
Sure.
Those are generally by definition, a player option is not team friendly. Because either you're going to want to keep the guy and he will have had a good enough season to opt out, or you're going to want to get off the guy and he will have had a bad enough season that he's going to want to opt in and take the money.
Right.
But I think that's a fine flyer to take. And then with Yak, I feel like, again, down the middle, that's pretty much the going rate for a solid starting center. And you're locking him up for the rest of his prime. I think that's totally fine. And I like having the certainty there with him, just having a starting center locked in for the next half decade to sort of build and grow with this core group. Whether he is the right center for that group, I guess is the question. It's is that the guy you wanted to lock in? But I see a lot of upside to that. I think he is there's a lot of what he brings that is just beneficial to the development of the guys around him, and I'm pretty okay with the price tag. So I don't think it's like a home run by any means, but I'd give it a solid B.
I think the fact that the last year, where he will be 34 on the last year of his contract, probably making, if it were to be fully guaranteed, roughly like $28 million. The fact that that's only partially guaranteed for 5 with different bonuses in there tied to performance and availability, I think that gives me that insurance to basically say, I mean, it's like the opposite of a player option in that sense, in which case, like, I have no issues with this. I don't really see who else the Raptors would have put at center, and I think that you lost a lot of your leverage when you decided to not trade him for Kevin Durant. At that point, if you're Jakob Poeltl's agent, you were just rubbing your hands together. You're like, well, since you're not going to trade me for KD, I think you should probably give me a raise. And honestly, Jakob, he's been really dedicated and like just like he's been a great soldier for this team. You know, when he plays well. He fits the system. It's really brought the best out of Jakob. And then, of course, when they need him to sit, Jakob has not said a peep. He just says, okay, I'm going to go ahead. And then just do the right thing for the organization. Of course, the Raptors are doing right by him by giving a pretty good pay raise as well. But at the same time, I think it's like in line with other centers on the market. Alex Wong, you famously had Jakob Poeltl as the captain of the all-average NBA team. Your thoughts on the extension?
No, I'm happy to have Big Ugly in the fold for the long term here. We know how important he is to just winning for this group, and like you guys mentioned, I think the contract is solid in a way where, you know, even if you were looking to trade him during the duration of this contract, like it's a good trade piece if they're looking for something else here, because you look at some of these other contracts, like with RJ, Immanuel, Quickley, they're a little bit above value now compared to like what we're seeing the other free agents are signing for. So, you know, this is a good contract for them. And yeah, I'm excited for my guy Mamu as well. You know, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mamu spaghetti. Yeah.
You know what? I didn't know where you were going with that, but it somehow fits, man. Did you guys know? I
knew exactly where you were going with it, and I still managed to be disappointed.
Come on, Mr. White Guy, dark humor over there.
Oh, classic. I don't know if you guys saw, but there is a video that he did with House of Highlights. And he explained all of his tattoos. He's very tatted up, like both his like left leg, left arm, his chest, everything like that, all tatted up. He has a SpongeBob tattoo.
Oh, okay. Isn't Brandon Ingram a fan of SpongeBob as well?
He is also a big SpongeBob fan.
Yeah.
I remember when we were in Philly. I think that was like when he first joined the team on the road was in Philadelphia, and he was just wearing like a SpongeBob beanie around, which was kind of fun.
SpongeBob Webster. Yeah.
Oh, brother. That's actually not bad either, man. You're on a roll. But he has a SpongeBob tattoo in which he explains that's the connection to his family.
That's incredible.
I think he had like one brother as Squidward, one brother as Patrick, and then he's SpongeBob. He's the main character. So no, I'm excited. I mean, I wouldn't say excited, but like I think both moves make sense to me. Like I really had no complaints. Especially with the Jakob market. I saw a lot of reaction online in terms of just like, you know, this is just a lot of money maybe for Jakob. I think the sticker shock is understandable, but at the same time, like when you compare it to like different centers in his range, like, I don't know, like Myles Turner, for example, also signed a very similar contract in free agency. They're similar in age. You know, Isaiah Hartenstein, who was just in the finals and just won the finals, actually signed for both more money on average. In annual salary than both of these players. Like, I think Jakob's comfortable in that range. I know that like our team isn't good enough to get to the finals, let's say, but as just quality of players themselves, I think Jakob is really, really good. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that the last couple of seasons have really shown how essential he is. So,
yeah, I mean, I think if you want to call it an issue. You know, whether it's with the Yak deal or like a bunch of the different contracts on the Raptors books, is like you don't look at any of them and be like, these are bad contracts necessarily, like out and out bad deals.
One of them,
but you don't have any like objective. You don't have guys who are like outperforming their contracts, right? Like this is a deal that Jakob Poeltl could live up to, But the odds of him like dramatically outperforming his contract and be like, wow, what a coup getting Yak on that deal are like very slim. And I think you could like, that's basically the same of all of the guys in the Raptors starting lineup, right? You're like, yeah, this seems like about market value, like fair value for these guys. They haven't had a ton of those sort of like real wins where it's like, well, you really identified this guy and got him for cheap because he was undervalued by the rest of the league and he flourished in this environment and you got like really solid production for, a fraction of the market value cost. Like, and I think that's where like teams that outperform expectations are just teams that really succeed in the league. That's a really important component of that the Raptors just don't have, like haven't had the last couple of years and don't look to have on the roster right now.
I totally agree with that. But I do think that a lot of this goes hand in hand with winning. Like if the Raptors actually stay healthy and actually have a decent season, I feel like the value of all your players kind of just starts to rise as a whole when you start to win. Now, of course, it's a chicken or the egg situation. Like, do you need good value on your contracts to then lead to winning versus, if winning then increases the value of all your good contracts. But I think if you look at just Jakob in the market, he's being paid as the 14th highest paid center per year in the league.
He's so average.
No, he's between. I don't know why Brook Lopez is listed as $24 million here, but like Isaiah Hartenstein's right ahead of him at 29 per year. After that, it's Jared Allen at 30 a year, Bam Adebayo at 3 a year, Rudy Gobert at 36, Şengün, and then after that, it's just pretty much all stars. Like, sounds about right.
Yeah, I think that.
Sounds about right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like all of these contracts sound about right, and none of them are like, oh wow, what a steal of a contract.
Yeah, no, I think Joe has a really good point there because like I didn't even think about Brandon Ingram's deal where he's getting $40 million a year as well. Is that the Raptors have almost just like locked in this core group without us ever seeing it. And this is the group that they want to go with. And usually, you look at a team like Cleveland with their core group, like you've seen them for a couple of years and now they're locked into those contract slots. And yeah, like they're gonna need IQ, Ingram, and Scotty to really all outperform their contracts if they want to be a good team. Otherwise, those contracts are gonna look really bad in the light, like in a year's time.
Yeah, I think the IQ one, by virtue of just being flat, like has a chance to look decent at least, but I don't think it's gonna look great.
I think one thing that really does suck is you can clearly tell that like most of the contracts signed this summer have been sensible, and the reason for that is because everybody is like afraid of the new CBA, trying to duck the second apron. And, I think that you just haven't seen any deals that have made, what I mean? There's no Yama Himni signing for like, 4 years, $60 million on 12:01 a.m. at free agency. Like, you're just not seeing any of those like crazy deals. And I think that like it is partially, I mean, it's a little annoying that like you sign deals like IQ, for example, just before the new CBA kicks in. And all of a sudden it looks comparatively worse. Granted, I think in all fairness to IQ, like, he hasn't been healthy enough to really like showcase exactly what he can do in terms of that value. But I think even at that time when he was signed, you were like, this is like probably $5 million a year richer than what it was, especially because he was a restricted free agent at that time. Like, who were you really competing with? Like right now the Raps, and we'll talk about fake trades right after this. Like, part of the reason the Raptors are motivated to make an additional move is because they're going to be about 1 or 2 million over the luxury tax. And this is clearly not a team that should be paying the luxury tax. So they'll definitely make a move to get under that. But it's like you could have also gotten under that if you just like got IQ probably closer to what his actual production is, which is like probably like 25.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's just unusual, right? Like it's unusual for a team coming off 25 and 30 win seasons to be looking at being a tax-paying team. For, even in a best case scenario where everyone stays healthy and everything clicks, it's like, you're winning 40 something games, like it's just a strange place for them to be in. And I would say just pay the tax. Like, who cares? It's, for one season and like see what happens, see what you have. Also, it's like you could go into the season as a tax paying team and see what it looks like. And if it's not working, then you can shed salary then. So it's not like they have to get under the tax right now. I think they can take a wait and see approach. And if things really do sing with this roster, then maybe you do decide that it's worth it to suck it up and pay the tax and just see where this goes.
Right.
So, but it just is like they are in a strange spot where they're actually like quite an expensive team, and we honestly don't know if they're going to be any good. So it's just, that you don't see a lot of teams that are in that type of position.
Yeah, small footnote too. I guess this does, like, Chris Boucher is not coming back now, right?
Oh, it's officially over.
Yeah.
I think Sandro steps in exactly to what Chris Boucher was the role that he was playing for the Raptors. Even though they're different players, obviously, but
Chris is gonna get a nice tribute video, man, for a bench player when he comes back. It's gonna be a nice ovation. So,
what was your favorite Chris Boucher moment, man? Besides me and him, squashing.
Yeah, my
the beef.
favorite Chris Boucher moment was when he brought you to a Judge Judy situation at Holt Renfrew for his podcast, and he had his entire family basically sit on the jury stand while he grilled you for 30 minutes. That was really fun. Yeah. That was our Holt Renfrew origin story for people that don't know. Yeah.
Luckily, all the Yahoo Sports Canada videos are deleted, so I don't think that exists anymore. Although I think Raptors Moments has archived it.
You're gonna talk about the death of sports media with Joe Wolfond as a free agent here? This is so rude of you, man.
I'm so sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Hire Joe, everyone. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Hire Joe. He is literally the best sports writer that I've ever worked with.
Wow.
And that's saying a lot because Alex has written multiple books right here and he's in between us.
No one takes me seriously. Joe, you're a very unique voice in this industry. You've been co-signed by one of our favorites, JJ Redick. So
that's right.
Good things are ahead for Joe. We know that.
Yo, maybe
Joe's gonna decide his own free agents.
Maybe you just get out of media in general and just go into assistant coaching, man.
That's what I told him. I'm like, you should just go like be a scout or like work assistant coach.
Don't be a scout. You have a kid.
I don't know if that grind is for me.
What, you have a kid or something? You have a family? Like, come on, man. Yeah. Anyways.
Joe, do you have a favorite Chris
guys.
Boucher moment?
I mean, honestly, I can't think of like one in particular. I mean, he was on the floor for the entire fourth quarter, basically, when they made that 30-point comeback against the Mavs. Like, I can't remember a specific moment that he had in that game, but like, he was a huge part of that comeback, a huge part of that full court press that they were playing that helped make that comeback possible. I mean, I think if there was a tribute video, it would just be chock full of like 3-point blocks, obviously. I'm thinking like, who was it against last season when he had just like that ballistic fourth quarter? Was it against the Warriors, maybe?
Yes, the Warriors.
He scored 20 in the fourth.
It was him versus Steph Curry down the stretch. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, and Chris Boucher won, which might be the reason why he might go to the Warriors, actually. So
yeah, I mean, and that's where he started his journey too. So that would be a nice full circle moment for him. And then not a specific moment, but there was a game. I think it was against Philly, when he had like 38 and 17 or something ridiculous like that.
Oh, that was Chicago. That was Chicago in the Tampa season.
Chicago.
Yeah, I think at that time that had been the highest points scored by
a Canadian, right? Or a Canadian bench player.
Yeah, Canadian bench player, maybe even Canadian for the Raptors. Kind of an obscure record. They're like, wow, he stole Corey Joseph's record. He broke.
In these losing seasons, dude, those are the kind of obscure records that the Raptors PR people are going to be churning out. You know that.
Oh, don't get me started on them. I also, one of my favorite moments too was during COVID, which was not my favorite moment, but when the Raptors were down to 6 guys and they had to go into Cleveland. And I think they were frantically signing guys, Tremont Waters.
Dude, the craziest part was they were trying to sign Nick
Stauskas, and then he got COVID.
Bro, they were like, Nick Stauskas was so thrilled because he was like obviously from Mississauga. He was about to fulfill his dream of playing for the Raptors. And then he got COVID at the exact time when the Raptors needed just anybody without COVID.
They were like, check the TSN roster. We're going to get Nick Stauskas of TSN.
They're like, Jack Armstrong, come on down, buddy.
But Chris Boucher was the quote-unquote number one option that night. And I remember him, a quote of him just talking about how like, oh man, I didn't know how hard it was to be a number one option in this league.
That humbled him. That actually
I think it almost crystallized for him like what his role should be in this league, like weirdly. Yeah. So
No, I mean, you know, we're huge fans of Chris on this show.
He does so much in the community too. The last time we saw him in person, he was at Jack Astor's. You know, with
fulfilling a Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah, fulfilling a Make-A-Wish,
like a child's dream. That child is alive and well, so that's actually really good to hear. But
yeah, he's done so much of that. His basketball camps, right? Like all of that stuff. So I think Chris, for a bench player, like really left an impact on this city and the fan base. So
there you go. Okay, so the roster is largely set. So the one last order of business, I think, for this front office, and I don't think they'll do it in like this week. I think they'll probably see how summer league goes, maybe even see how training camp goes, and maybe even roll it into the following season. Of course, they have until next year's trade deadline, basically, to get under the luxury tax. But I think the Raptors will make another move to get themselves under the luxury tax, or even just to balance out the roster. Certainly, this is not a finished product, so I could definitely see this team making some improvements. The homework I've assigned for both of you is to come up with one fake trade that the Raptors should consider making. Let's start with our guest, Joe Wolfond. What is your fake trade that the Raptors should make?
Yeah, I mean, like, most of the constructions I was thinking about revolve around RJ. It just feels like that is the piece that makes most sense to go out. And I was trying to think of one where they could get back two players for one, just sort of bolster their depth. Because I do feel like that's a big question mark going into this season. Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel like I don't know if they're set on the wing, like, or like RJ is like extraneous on the wing, but like they have a lot of guys who could theoretically make up a good wing group. You know, Scotty, Ingram, Jacoby, Grady, Ochai. And so the areas where I think they really need help are like backup point guard and backup center. Like those to me, I mean, maybe Shed is ready to step into that full-time backup point guard role. I don't know. But backup center is definitely like a huge vacuum right now.
Even Mamu. Mamu's more a 4 than a 5, really.
So yeah, so what I'm thinking about Memphis and how they picked up Cole Anthony in that trade with the Magic, and the word has been out there that they're looking to move off of him, right? So how would you guys feel about Cole Anthony and Brandon Clark for RJ?
That one's interesting. So I actually had a similar proposal, and I'll add this to the stage so we can see it. Well, actually, can you guys see it? It might be a little small.
Yeah.
I might be the Ken Jeong meme right now, sort of squinting at a piece of paper. But the trade proposal I had here was KCP and Brandon Clark for RJ Barrett. This failed, but only because KCP recently got traded, so you need to wait at least 2 months until he got traded again. If they tried this again in 2 months, which will be in August, like this actually works just fine. I think the only thing with the that I thought was well, actually, I guess I didn't really consider the Cole Anthony angle, because if you put the Cole Anthony and Brandon Clark contracts together, I believe that you can actually shed money off of the deal in a way that probably even works even better for the Raptors in terms of getting out of the tax.
They add up to like 25, so
right,
that might help you dip
they only
under
need to
the
shed
tax.
$2 million. You know what? Actually, I'm going to remove this deal. I'm rejecting my own deal, putting us back on the screen here. I like your deal better. Alex, would you make this trade of RJ Barrett to the Memphis Grizzlies for Cole Anthony and Brandon Clark?
Yeah, sure. I would love KCP though. So then we have all these like 3-name guys like CMB, KCP. We can start a situation there. But yeah, I'd be happy with this trade. Are we in a rush to trade RJ though?
That's a good question. Like I mean, his name comes up a lot, which I think is probably owing to the fact that the Raptors don't want to extend RJ. Because I think these are two different topics, right? If they want to extend RJ, then I don't think you would hear his name in trade reports nearly this much. I think that part of the extension for RJ is that they actually have to agree to a number, obviously, right? But I think RJ probably even wants a raise off of what he's currently making, which is about 28 a year, maybe into that 30 range. And I'm pretty certain the Raptors don't want to do that.
If you could get RJ on like a Jakob type deal, well, I don't know if that's realistic, like 25 a year. I wouldn't be too mad at that. Like we know RJ's game and his efficiencies, but to get a starter at that price, I wouldn't be in a rush to trade RJ. I feel
Well,
like
I think
he
to-
does
I mean,
bring a
to-
lot to the table.
He does, and I don't want to sell that short. I do think like a lot of what he brings is just
It's like a redundancy. With
there
some
are
of the
redundancies
others.
with the
Yeah.
roster, right? And like to Will's point, if you take for granted that the Raptors don't want to extend him, the question of whether you should be in a rush to trade RJ is whether you think that his trade value is going to increase or decrease or stay the same. Like, is he going to have more trade value a few months from now, less trade value, the same? Like, that's the calculus I think you have to run through. And if you're worried about the way that the redundancies on the roster might diminish his production and like make him look worse, then I think that would be an impetus to try and move earlier on this. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I'd be fine with them going into the season with the roster they have and just seeing, again, what they have. They don't need to duck under the tax right this second. They can see what it looks like. But if they're concerned that, hey, his trade value is not going to be any higher than it is now, we know we don't want to extend him, then I think that would be the reason that they'd be looking to deal him at this moment instead.
Yeah, I mean, do you think there's a realistic possibility where his trade value actually drops if we wait and go into the season?
Yeah, of course there's a possibility. Like, he could get injured. Like, he could get off to a really rough start, not fit.
Okay, okay, maybe that's a bad question. Maybe do you think it's likely that it will drop? Or do you think it will stay largely the same?
Man, I don't know. Like, flip a coin, right? I think it's honestly impossible to predict how these things are going to go. Because maybe it's a situation where, like, there's an injury on another team. Suddenly another team needs a hole filled on the wing, and there's more of a demand for him, right? Like, I don't know that I see his trade value increasing, I guess I would say.
Okay.
Like, I think it's more likely to go the other direction or to stay the same than to increase. So if we're doing the equation that way, I would say, yeah, like, I would fall more on the side of you'd want to get out ahead of this. But also, I don't think it's especially likely that it's going to decrease either. So
Right.
I'd, again, be perfectly fine with them just like seeing what the team they've constructed looks like before making any decisions about it.
Yeah, see,
But
I
I
think
don't.
The only thing for me too is just like in terms of redundancy, I've definitely seen this idea of like, okay, the Raptors added Brandon Ingram. The Raptors also have, Scotty and IQ who can score. The thing for me, I'm just like, the one thing that maybe all three of them lack on a consistent basis is the RJ's will to get to the rim. And how much
100%.
rim pressure he puts on. I don't see that as a redundancy in the skill set because BI is 3-level scorer, but he prefers the mid-range first and foremost, then the 3, and then maybe going to the basket. That's not to say he can't get to the basket too. Like, I think he's our most skilled like scorer. Like, I think pretty clearly right now. IQ, I think probably my biggest thing with IQ is just like he just kind of shies away from contact on both ends of the floor. Not only do I think that impacts his game right now, but I think especially in a playoff setting, which the Raptors are hoping to get to, that'll really hold him back. And then Scotty, I think we'll have to see. But at the same time, we've seen lots of games this year where the team was led by Scotty or led by RJ, and pretty much neither iteration won. But I think in those games, I saw RJ's. Like, he was going to the rim no matter what. I think what really sticks with me at the start of the season when a lot of the other guys, IQ, Scotty, were injured, was just RJ playing that point guard position, playing the pick and roll with Yak, and just getting downhill to the basket over and over and over again. No matter what. No excuses, bad spacing, doesn't really matter. RJ has that determination to get there. And then he draws fouls when he gets there. Now, granted, he's got to shoot the free throws a lot better. But yeah, I mean, I think for me, like, I agree. I think this type of trade, I would wait till the deadline or even into the season in January before the deadline to make a move like this. I'd actually want to see what the roster looks like with RJ first before making this. Alex, I don't know. Do you want to see RJ move? I guess, I don't know, man.
Well, I just think from a trade value standpoint, I agree with Wolfond. Like, there is probably more downside just depending on, playing next to Ingram and what the roster looks like in terms of his trade value. And I wonder what his trade value would be at the deadline because, like, the team's got to think about extending him as well, right? Like, trading for him. So, but I'm sure John Horst will be pretty desperate still by then, and we'll probably be able to get a couple of those great Milwaukee players that are on that roster.
Oh, man. You want Kyle Kuzma?
I did not.
Is that what you're asking for?
Do the Bucks have one interesting young player that would like be like at least kind of appealing in a trade package?
What you think about Ryan frickin' Rawlings, man?
No, my God. I think their most intriguing young player might be Gary Trent Jr.
That's
because they've got him for pretty cheap. So
yeah.
Gary hours over there. Yeah.
It's been Gary hours over there, man. By the way, they were like, "What do you think of this lineup?" Because like obviously they made the huge moves, and I'm like, so obviously whatever. Dame tearing his Achilles, he wasn't gonna play this season. You know that really does suck. But the fact that the pivot is you have the starting lineup of I think they had Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., Kyle Kuzma, Giannis, and Myles Turner. I'm like, man, just adding Myles Turner wasn't gonna save this, but we'll talk about the Bucks in a second. Okay, that was Joe's trade proposal. Alex Wong, what's your fake trade proposal that the Raptors should consider?
Yeah, so I got a big one here. So I premised this off the fact that Masai's gone, and Bobby's running the front office. Slight changes there, and I know I was reading a Michael Grange article. I don't know if this is like news to people, but he shared some details about how at the time when Pascal's contract was coming up, Bobby was actually pushing to sign Pascal to an extension, and even if they wanted to trade him later, they could figure it out, and Masai was the one that was against it. So maybe there's a difference of opinion in certain players and certain deals that have already taken place, and the one that I'm looking at is IQ, who is signed to this contract. And for me, like, I want to shift. This is a bet on maybe I can get another player on similar term that's going to deliver more value over the course of this contract, even though it's weird trading a guy that we've barely seen, especially play with this core group. So my trade here is IQ and Colin Castleton heading to the Orlando Magic in exchange for Jalen Suggs and Mac McClung.
Okay, hold on.
So I want to turn the Raptors. I want to get a dog on my team at point guard. Brandon Ingram's going to take care of this offense. We're going to keep RJ. And I want to start stacking some like really elite defenders on this team and add another guy who can't shoot, which would definitely fit the profile here in Toronto. So I'm moving off IQ and getting Jalen Suggs.
Hey, I was going to say, I feel like Suggs' shooting is slept on, man. I think he's really improved in that area.
Okay, then let's call in this deal.
But the Magic are not doing that. Like, in no universe are the Magic doing that trade.
That's why these are fake trades. Yeah.
By the way, speaking of I didn't even see Mac McClung as an option to throw into the trades.
Well, clearly you're not the Picasso of the trade machine.
No, because like low-key Fanspo, I think actually has a better trade machine right now than ESPN. Not to talk trade machine.
Whoa, trade machine ranking. I do want to actually dive a little bit into the Castleton McClung part of the deal.
Okay.
I want to move.
Why?
I want to move Colin Castleton out because he's the name that I most associate with last year's Raptors. Just having to watch them in the second half, like a lot of Colin Castleton. I would like to remove that stain from the roster.
Oh wow!
And Mac McClung is a great vibe check guy, end of the bench. When the Raptors up 40 points against Milwaukee on opening night in the fourth quarter, people are gonna chant for Mac McClung the same way they used to chant for Bruno. And I think it'll add good energy. So it's a vibe trade, and let's get Jalen Suggs here. Let's team up Jalen Suggs and Scotty Barnes. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say we could team up Jalen Suggs and Grady Dick, man.
My God!
We finally have made the lineup work.
Throw Anthony Black in.
Well, I mean, actually, Anthony Black will be somebody I would really try to be targeting too.
Yeah.
I think the Raptors definitely need to throw in a pick to make this work. I think, like. At least a first.
pick.
Yeah, at least a first, I would say. I think that Jalen Suggs has actually like been really, really good for the Magic the last 2 years. I think that once he got the three ball down, I think that really changed a lot for them. The one good thing several good things with Jalen Suggs. Number one, he's like just an incredible defender. I think that's where again like the value for the Raptors. The one thing you would say is that the Magic need more shooting around Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. Maybe a trade like this could have been more plausible before they got Desmond Bane. And again, of course, I have to say, I think Suggs also shot it at a pretty good rate. Like, obviously, IQ is a better shooter than Jalen Suggs, but not enough to maybe make up for the difference in the defensive.
Putting
I
aside,
think Suggs only shot it at 31% this year. That part of that was honestly because he had to run more of the offense this year, especially with Franz and Paolo out. But last year he did shoot it at 39.7%.
Yeah, I think it's really just like the Magic are clearly very committed to their defensive identity, and Suggs is the best defensive guard in the league, like him or Caruso probably, but I honestly would lean Suggs. I think
So you're saying
I think there's
from a perspective
zero chance
of
they would do this.
Yeah, like setting that aside, you think this would be a great deal for the Raptors?
Hell yeah! I mean, I love Jalen Suggs.
That's all I wanted to hear.
It would be strange because I think honestly. I weirdly wouldn't love it for both teams. I mean, I would love it for the Raptors because I would love to have Jalen Suggs. He would be such a huge addition for their defense. Like, I think they make this deal and they have the potential to be a top 5 defense next year, 100%. But also, this is a team that even with IQ are projected probably to be one of like the lower volume and poorer 3-point shooting teams in the league. So it's a big downgrade in that department as well. And then, for the Magic, it's like you just made this huge deal to get Desmond Bane because of how badly you needed his shooting. Mm-hmm. And I think the pairing of Bane and Suggs in the backcourt is basically perfect. And I think they'd be very, very reluctant to break that up after everything they gave up to put it together. So I think it's, look, I like where your head's at. The Raptors need a point of attack defender. I think that's and my fake trade proposal does not address that. And that's why when I was sort of kicking around RJ frameworks, I actually I wound up deciding I just wouldn't do this, but I even considered hey, would they do just a straight up RJ for Wiggins swap? Oh. Wiggins being older, obviously in terms of character and work ethic and things like that, I think
here we go. I had this loaded up basically.
So there you go. So I again, the age difference, RJ being younger, and some of the concerns I guess with Wiggins over the course of his career, just in terms of his engagement level, which I don't think you ever have to worry about with RJ. But in terms of that fit, a guy who can maybe play a little bit better without the ball, more of a shooting threat, and also just a straight a way better defender at the point of attack. That was why I considered this. So I like where your head's at in terms of trying to find that guy who can actually really defend on the perimeter. That's going to be a need for this team, but I just don't see the Magic doing it.
I just for me I think the Raptors are just a very down the middle team, an average team. You could look at average on both ends, and I feel like they need to almost just pick a direction and just lean in and try to get some of these elite skill sets in. And really, by the time they get back to the playoffs regularly, I feel like they should have figured out what that identity is. And I feel like they need to lean more into the defensive side and get some more guys. So
absolutely.
And I just love Suggs, man. I love watching Jalen Suggs.
Oh, he's a dog, man. That was one of your favorite teams last year, was watching the Orlando Magic. When they were really banged up and injured, and they were still getting wins. They beat the Raptors in that stretch. It was in December. I remember that game. That was really inspiring. By the way, you guys concerned at all with Jalen Suggs' injury though? I think that's probably where, if Orlando were even entertaining something like this, I feel like that's a sign that they're concerned about his long-term availability. I know IQ hasn't been super healthy this past year, but nothing's lingering. It was a shoulder thing. It was I didn't even know what all the little ailments that IQ ended up having. But IQ for the most part has been healthy. Jalen Suggs, especially the way he plays all out, sacrifices his body. The fact that he basically broke his back in that game against the Raptors, I don't know. I'd actually be really worried.
Hey man, we took a chance on Kawhi's medicals. Why not Jalen Suggs?
Jesus Christ, man! The most valuable guy, the MIG in the organization, is Alex McKechnie, man. Yep. Goodness, this guy gonna be massaging Brandon Ingram with one hand and Jalen Suggs with the other hand.
Oh my God, man, the visuals! Come on, man.
He's gonna look like the Michael Jordan wingspan poster.
There's no need for this.
You're gonna be waxing.
Some people are having lunch right now, man. Come on, just off of Canada Day, trying to listen to a pod, man.
Brandon Ingram probably getting a massage as we speak, man.
God, he's getting waved and stretched.
Oh man, the Wiggins thing. Going back to this trade, the reason I threw in my iteration, I threw Ochai in here. Largely, I think is just to again get the Raptors under the luxury tax. I think that the Heat also could definitely use Ochai as well. It depends really if the Raptors are going to extend Ochai, off his rookie scale. Otherwise, it's just like, what are you really sort of holding on to him for? Maybe you keep him in a restricted free agency, but I just think that like the shooting guard position is either going to be inherited by Jacoby Walter or it's going to be inherited by Grady Dick. And so as much as Ochai did a good job last year being a 3-and-D guy, for me, I actually think that there's much more potential with those other two, even though Ochai is actually just a better player than both of them right now. This trade actually does get the Raptors under the luxury tax. It gives the Heat 2 playable players, which they need. It does make the Raptors older with Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins is 30, RJ's 25. But at the same time, I think you get a little bit more defense, a little bit more shooting, potentially with Andrew. And even though I would say RJ's definitely a better offensive player than Andrew at this point in their careers, I think the Raptors, again, have the type of offense elsewhere maybe to sort of make up for this. So, again, I think it's not sexy because you're trading for an older player. You're not getting that much value. I don't even know if the Raptors would want to extend Wiggins off of this. I think there's a player option for him after this following season for $30 million. We don't even know if he'll pick that up. I would say probably just based on what his current value is right now. But I don't think he'll get 30 in the market. But that's not a bad one. If the last one I want to propose here, because Wolfond basically proposed two of the ones that I had roughly already. This one, you got to swing a little bit big for this, but for Trey Murphy III, Wiggins for me, I'm putting RJ Barrett and Grady Dick into this deal. I'll probably put another pick, maybe a future first, probably not my 2026 first, but maybe my 2027 first into this deal.
Heard the Pelicans might be in the market for a 2026 first. So.
You know what? Lottery protected 2026 first. You can have that as well. RJ Barrett, Grady Dick, 2026 first, lottery protected. For Trey Murphy III, accomplishes, number one, what the Raptors need in terms of ducking under the luxury tax. Number two, it gets them better defensively on the wing. And number three, it makes them even better on the three-point range. Trey Murphy just came off a career year for the Pelicans. No one knew this because the Pelicans, no one watched that team. I mean, that thing was miserable to watch all year. But if I were looking to make a deal with front offices in the league, the two front offices I'd be calling on every potential trade would be the Sacramento Kings and the New Orleans Pelicans. They, for me, are the two worst front offices in the league right now, not counting Sean Marks. I would call them. And this is a lot. This is a lot to give up, but Trey Murphy with Grady Dick and Brandon Ingram as your sort of 2, 3, 4 gives you a lot of switchability, gives you a lot of size, and honestly a nice balance of offense as well.
Yeah, I'll let Wolfond break down this trade, but I just want to add, Joe Dumars, the famous photo of him with two phones. That's him fielding calls from every GM. Trying to fleece him. And also, of course, you were referencing how the Pelicans gave up an unprotected 2026 first just to move up in the draft to take Derek Queen, which I want to defend them. Who amongst us haven't been willing to give up unprotected first to land a Queen? So I'm just saying, I understand where the Pelicans are coming from.
We're talking to a father here, man. This guy was definitely unprotected with his Queen.
Oh, my God.
What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry, man.
Wolfond has clearly not listened to our pod lately and the slants that we have been moving down towards.
Yeah, it's been weird on the show.
Yeah,
it's not even the dog days of the offseason yet, guys. I mean, save some material.
Okay, but Wolfond, Trey Murphy deal. What do you think?
Would you do this?
Look, 100% I would do this. And maybe I'm giving Joe Dumars and co too much credit, but I just don't see the angle for the Pelicans at all. And even if you think that they're bumbling, incompetent fools, which they may well be, I just can't. I think you'd have to lay out a couple of pretty juicy picks on the table in order to get this done, and I would still probably be down to do it. Trey Murphy is awesome. He'd be an incredible fit. I would love to have him on the Raptors. So yeah, 100% I'd be all for it. I did want to ask you guys a question about all the Pelicans machinations, if you want to call them that. And I apologize if this is ground that's been covered on this pod already, or if I don't know if there's been any reporting to this effect out there, but is it your sense or your belief that that same offer was on the table for the Raptors in that number 9 pick? Because I can't, the more I've turned it over in my head, the less I would understand them not, like, if they wanted Queen that badly, they wanted to move up that badly. Like, if that, like, that unprotected first obviously was enough for them to jump up more than just 10 spots. Like, maybe they didn't realize that, which would be insane, but, like, they could have moved up a lot higher than 13.
Right.
So I don't know why they wouldn't have been talking to other teams in that range. I'm just, like, wondering whether the Raptors would have had that on the table.
Incompetence is hard to explain. And I think Joe Dumars is operating in like a 2004 ass like mode. He just thinks he can just like, give up a pick here and didn't really think twice about it.
This is an Ernie Grunfeld type of activity. Yeah. But no, I think Joe Dumars is actually on record. He said after they picked at 7, they went on the phone and called every front office in between.
He was really like
No, he was one phone. It was legit 2-phone Jones being like, okay, would you do this exact deal? Like, he was offering the same deal like this, man. Like,
so the Raptors turned this deal down.
I think most likely the Raptors got a call, and I think that most likely the Raptors didn't accept the deal. Like,
that's insane. How could, like, is that not insane to you?
That is pretty crazy to me.
I don't care how much you like Colin Murray Boyles, like that.
Yeah.
That draft pick unprotected is like,
you just take that
might
pick
be like one of the
take that pick and worry about the rest later. Yeah.
Yes, that might be one of the 5 best draft assets in the league right now.
Yeah, and if you're trying to win now, you could probably move.
On.
But if you're trying to win now,
how bad do you think the Pelicans are going to be next year?
But if you're trying to win now in the,
they won
the deadline,
they won like 18 games last year.
That would be an awesome trade asset at the deadline too. If the Pelicans are terrible.
Okay, and not only that, first of all, it's a Pelicans/Bucks pick, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like that pick has swap rights with the Bucks, so you're not just betting against the Pelicans.
Is it the better?
It's the better of those.
It's the better.
Two.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the only time a swap is the better of.
Honestly, yeah.
And maybe this is feeling pie in the sky at this point, but like if you were hoping to swing a Giannis trade at some point in time,
that's the pick.
What could be better than having a Bucks trade asset to flip back to them in that deal, right? In 2026, like if they wanted to do it this year, whether it's before the season, during the season, and they're looking to tank, hey, here's your pick back. Like what better asset could they hope to get ahead of like a highly touted 2026 class, right? Like if they had that on the table and they turned it down, I mean, Jesus, that would be crazy to me.
According to Joe Dumars, they picked up the phone and made the same offer to every other team until they got to, what was it, 13 or 12 when they actually got the yes.
Crazy for the Raptors to have turned that down. And like, I'm trying, like who all drafted after them? Like who drafted at 10, 11, like
Houston drafted at 10, right?
Actually, the funny thing is, if you just didn't have the 9th pick, the Raptors would actually also be under the luxury tax. Not that I don't, I mean, obviously, I really like Colin, man, but, I think, it's a difficult trade in the moment because I don't think that trade was made available until, like the night of the draft itself. So probably there was like a maybe 5 to 10 minute decision window. And at that point, like, I mean, you could probably do the calculus in your head and, you could probably arrive at the decision. But I could also see for the Raps, it's like we just spent all season tanking. And if we did make this trade, probably will give you better value long term. I think there's like at least an 80% likelihood of that. But I also think that the flip side will be, how do we then explain this? Like, we've just tanked for 2 years and didn't get one lottery pick, not even one.
No, but you tanked to get the best trade asset, the
get
best draft trade asset that you can get. And plus, the roster is pretty set for this season anyways.
Sure.
So it's not like the 9th pick was going to swing anything on the roster for this year, right?
There's
like significantly.
I would say there is like a decent chance that both of those teams wind up in the lottery and you get not one but 2 cracks at jumping into the top 4 in a draft that a lot of people are saying is even stronger than 2025.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty easy to explain, honestly. Like
let's just blame it on Keith Pelly, man. They were probably trying to call Keith and he wasn't available in that 10-minute window. To approve a move. Yeah.
There's no way Keith was in that room, man. there's no way Keith was in that room.
By the way, breaking news love to share with you two as well, as we're all formerly at the Score. Mike Brown is the new Knicks head coach.
Oh,
yeah,
our guy.
After months of searching, they came back to Mike Brown, who would have been like a top 3 candidate. Like, even if you just said, hey, the Knicks need a new head coach, who would it be? Like, you would have instantly said, like, Mike Malone, Mike Brown, and then...
Wolfond, what do you think about the move from Tibbs to Mike Brown?
I think culturally it's like a pretty seamless transition. I feel like the idea, as far as like the way that I'm trying to think through and rationalize it, is like we want to add a little bit more spice and imagination to our offense. And like you saw what Mike Brown did with that Kings offense, like reorienting it around the high post, more dribble handoff, more off-ball movement. Like, can you bring some of that to a Knicks offense that has been effective, but a little bit station to station and like not always super imaginative? And like, you know that Mike Brown's going to drill the defensive principles as well. Like, that's always sort of been his MO. Like, the offensive stuff was something that he came to, I think, as an assistant with Golden State and like carried that through to Sacramento. But he has always had, I think very solid defensive teams. Like, even the Kings, I think he got the most out of those teams at the defensive end. They just didn't have a ton of defensive talent. So in that sense, I think it's like good carryover from the Tibbs culture. And I think the hope would be, he can get a little bit more out of their offensive personnel.
Yeah, I think that's clearly like the next step that they need to make. I think that the other issue with the Knicks is just like there's just not a lot of guys who can dribble the ball. So you're going to inevitably end up with a similar situation with Brunson having it for 20 seconds out of the shot clock. And then he's an amazing shot maker at the end of it. So, like, it's just going to be really difficult to... I'm really curious to see if the Knicks do choose to play differently. I think if they ran the same team back and played in the same way, they have like a really strong chance, maybe even a 25% chance of making out the East. Like, the East is just really weak right now. But
well, by default, I feel like they're the top team right now. Maybe with Cleveland.
But I do feel like they have a 0% chance of winning the NBA championship the way that they play basketball. Like, they're so leaky defensively, and then they're so ISO heavy on offense with one guy, Even though the one guy is amazing at it, so... Yeah, they play like the Iverson Sixers, but they don't have just Mutombo. And
they do not have Mutombo.
I don't think you can't say they have a 0% chance of winning the championship, considering
how would this team ever beat OKC, man?
Okay, so like,
and you're not guaranteed OKC's going back to the finals.
You're not guaranteed OKC.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
The team that knocked you out in the conference finals is obviously severely diminished next season. Like, probably not going to be a factor in the. Not even probably. Like, they're not going to be a factor in the title picture next season.
Yeah.
I thought, in spite of some of their defensive limitations, they played really, really good defense in that Celtics series. Like, granted, a lot of the Celtics' wounds in that series were self-inflicted.
Yep.
But I do think the Knicks had played a part in it with the way that they had sort of decided to scrap their scheme and just switch everything. And Cat actually held up really well on switches in that series, protected the rim really effectively in that series. I think they didn't sustain it, but they definitely showed at various points, for extended stretches, I would say during the playoffs, that they were capable of playing championship caliber basketball. I wouldn't say there's a 0% chance. And I think, the idea or the hope would be that they have the pieces there, and it just requires some sort of fine-tuning from a coach or a coaching staff, and obviously that's what they're hoping to get out of Mike Brown. It's just that little bit, that 2% on the margin that can help them get to where they need to go.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Will though. They gotta reorient things a little bit. It just feels like Brunson is gonna have the ball, but it just feels like the sum wasn't the sum of the parts or whatever. I don't know. I can't speak English right now, but it's they just didn't get the most out of the guys. I feel like they have such a talented roster,
right? And
then down the stretch, it's just always just Brunson figuring it out.
Who would you favor them out the West? If it was Knicks in the finals versus the West, obviously OKC wouldn't favor them against. Would you favor them against Denver?
I wouldn't favor them, but I guess we got to see if they are a different team by the time they get there next season.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
There's almost no team in the East that I would favor against any team that's presumably going to come out of the West, right?
That is fair.
Whichever team emerges from that bloodbath in the West, I think is just going to be a heavy favorite. The
10th best team in the West is probably going to be better than the 3rd team in the East next season.
It's
just
possible.
from a quality standpoint.
Hey, man.
And look, things never play out the way that we expect, right? There's going to be a team in the East, much like the Cavs last year, that will emerge and at some point look like a juggernaut. Maybe it's Orlando, maybe it's Atlanta. Like, there's a team that's going to emerge
It's
and
gonna
be
be
better
Washington,
than we
bro.
It's not going to be Washington.
What?
I'm buying Wizards stock, man. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Have fun with that.
I mean,
It's about to be. It's about to be
the
the
stock back in 2018.
It's about to be the Big Short.
It's about to
but,
get shorty, man. The way they're gonna be hunting these guys down.
No, but I agree with you, Wolfond. It's like
Yeah.
we can't predict these things, and even with OKC, and there's like, you know, you can't put any specific reason to it. But I look at the Celtics teams who were crowned as like, oh, gonna be champions, and they only won one title out of that entire run that they just had with like Tatum and Brown. And OKC, I mean, we'll talk about this later too, but it's like OKC's going to face some much better competition next season, I think, in the West. So,
okay, before we get to talking about the rest of the league, I want to take a quick break and bring you a message from our newest sponsor, Jerome. The offseason means it's officially summertime, and between stressing about trades and draft picks and signings and games, I like to really enjoy my downtime and catch up with dear friends that I typically can't get to during the basketball season. Good weather and good company are only made better with a great beverage, and that's why I reach for Simply Spiked. It's easy drinking at 5% alcohol, and it pairs really nicely with every summertime occasion. You know, recently I've been reaching for the limeade flavor. It's the newest flavor. It's got a very refreshing blend of sweet and tart flavoring, and they're made with real fruit juice. Pick up Simply Spiked at your local store and try it for yourself. Must be legal drinking age. Please celebrate responsibly.
you know, I'm super excited to spend my entire summer drinking Simply Spiked. Drinking responsibly.
My brother, I got 2 cases for you, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You about to be doing Casey.
I think another person that might have been on that Simply Spike yesterday was John Horse. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, transition.
he was not managing responsibly. That's for damn sure. Okay, my question to you guys: what the hell did the Bucks just do? Actually, what happened to Joe Wolfond as well?
I believe we lost Wolfond, but
we actually
work on getting him back.
Joe's actually just run to the store right now, his local store, to go pick up a case of Simply Spiked.
By the way, when you refer to John Horse, make sure you refer to him as the 2019 Executive of the Year. Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what? As we found out here in Toronto, it ain't 2019 no more. Okay, guys, what did the Bucks just do? Because the big news out of free agency yesterday shocked everybody. The Milwaukee Bucks managed to sign Myles Turner to a 4-year, $107 million away from their dreaded rivals, their hated rivals in the Indiana Pacers, who knocked them out twice. And to create that cap room, they actually stretched, waived, you know what I mean, spread thin. You know what I mean? They did everything possible, man. They took Damian Lillard, they divided him by 5 years, his contract of, I think there was $110 million left on this deal. They're just going to eat that. They're going to eat that, and then they created the cap room to sign Myles Turner. Reports are from, I'm not even kidding when I say this. What is it called when, so Giannis's wife is cousins with Chris Haynes. So is this his cousin-in-law, Giannis's cousin-in-law, reporting that Giannis was upset by this move and was not consulted with.
Thanasis, you have a podcast. Bring some news, man. Holy, you getting scooped by your cousin?
Cousin-in-law.
Oh, are you kidding me? You getting scooped by an extended family that's not even blood? Wow, disgusting behavior, man. Yeah.
But yeah, what do you guys make of what the Milwaukee Bucks just did yesterday, man? This is kind of nuts.
Wolfond, you go first.
Look, I get why they felt like they had to do this, right? They're just
Okay.
Like there were just no other like if their plan, and I understand why they don't want to trade Giannis. It's Giannis, right? And if their plan is, okay, we're going to keep Giannis and we're going to try to make a run at this, make the team better, there was no way to do that without getting Dame's money off the books somehow. Like, from that perspective, I do understand it, and I do think Myles Turner is an awesome front court fit with Giannis. It's like approximating the, you know, what you got with peak Brook Lopez, essentially, even though I think peak Brook Lopez is better than Myles Turner is. Like, you get the same sort of idea in terms of a center who can space the floor and then, protect the rim at the other end, right? I don't think, and I don't blame Giannis for this. I genuinely believe him when he says he wants to stick it out in Milwaukee, wants to try and win another one there. But I don't think he's doing the team any favors by playing this I'm monitoring the situation and let's see if we can still build a champion. And now they're just making these deals that it's going to just make it that much more difficult for them to pivot and rebuild if or when this thing goes sideways. But as long as Giannis is saying or giving some indication that he's willing to stick it out and try to keep winning there, I think they have to do everything in their power to try and make the team better. And they just didn't have a lot of levers to pull. So I think given what was available to them, this was almost the best they could have done. But I still think it's insane, right?
Yeah.
And I think, okay, so you think about the Turner contract, right? It's again, we're talking about the Poeltl deal. Mm-hmm. This is going rate for a solid starting center in the league. I think Turner's a bit more valuable than Poeltl is just because of the spacing that he brings at the 5 spot. It's $27 million a year. The first year of that deal, it's okay, so Dame was going to be on the books getting paid 50-some million to not play anyway. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, it's you swap that out for Turner, a guy who's going to play, and it's no big deal. But Dame was also going to, presumably play the year after that and then come off the books. And now it's 5 years of $22 million just sitting there in dead money.
Right.
And so for all the other years of the Turner contract, you kind of have to think of it as he's getting $49 million essentially for the remaining 3 years on that deal.
Damn it, man.
And it's just okay, so even if you think, as I do, that is a great front court fit,
sure,
how are you going to talk yourself into this team being an actual contender? As good as Giannis is, how is he looking at this situation and thinking that there's any hope and not just being and again, if he does it now, it's well, we already made this deal. We already waived and stretched Dame's deal over 5 years. I think he would have really done the team a favor by just coming out and saying, this isn't going to happen. We should both move on and part ways. That would have benefited the Bucks in the same way that, the Blazers for the longest time didn't feel like they could move on from Dame. They felt they owed it to him to wait until he was ready to go somewhere else. And I think ultimately when he made that decision, it was a good thing for Portland. They were able to move on. So, look, again, Giannis has earned the right to do whatever he wants, right? And the Bucks, as long as he is a Milwaukee Buck, I think it is their imperative to make the team around him as good as it can possibly be. I do think this move makes them better, but it's in the simplest possible terms, right? Compare this team they have now to the one that won the championship in 2021. Even if you want to say that Giannis is just as good now as he was then, which I don't think is true.
No, he's not.
I think he's still basically the same guy offensively. I think he's a couple notches below at the defensive end, right? I think that version of Brook Lopez is probably a smidge better than this version of Myles Turner. So it's the front court is not even as good as that front court was. And then you've also basically swapped out Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton for Kevin Porter Jr. and Kyle Kuzma. There is there is no chance that this team is contending for a title as currently constructed.
From just a vibe standpoint, those two names are two of the worst vibe guys to have on a team. And I think Wolfond, you make a good point. I was really surprised that Giannis didn't go through with the trade request after the season. I think almost the worst thing that happened to Giannis and the Bucks was Tatum going down, Halliburton going down, and all this talk of the East being wide open. Because if there was some kind of still hierarchy in the East, I think they just both agree that there's really no chance for them. And now somehow they're talking themselves into the fact that, if we just cobble this roster together around Giannis, we can make it work. And it just, I've been through breakups before where where you stay for 2 months too long and you just come to the realization that, hey, it just wasn't gonna work out, and you just have to move on with your life. And I think that's where the Bucks are right now. And John Horst, he reminds me we're going to Vegas Summer League next week. It's just hypothetically, if the three of us went out and played blackjack, Like, you know, when he got when he got Drew Holiday, that was us sitting at a blackjack table, like everyone's up like $300-$400, feeling good.
City boys.
Yeah, you know, you're winning, you feel that championship vibes, and then you know, you go for some pizza, you come back, you know, you split aces, and then you're not able to, you know, beat the dealer, but it's okay. Like you trade for Dame Lillard, right? You're still feeling good. You're on the downslide, you're still feeling good. Giannis doesn't request a trade, and suddenly John Horst finds himself 4 a.m. at the MGM Grand staring at an ATM, you know, asking Myles Turner how much money he wants, and that's where John Horst is at right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and one last point, again, all hypothetical, but
yeah,
but
allegedly.
But one last point here. I think Dame Lillard should sue CJ McCollum for this new CBA and getting waived and stretched and all this stuff. I don't think they can ever be
Dame's
friends.
Laughing, man. He gets all his money.
No, Dame actually comes out the best. Like he can just literally go to Miami now if he wants. And just get everything that he always wanted in the first place. So
we've never had a situation like this in the NBA where we have, I mean, obviously an all-star coming off an Achilles, but like a top 75 all-time player still like actively not like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like he's unable to play. He's still going to be like pretty good of a player. Even all-star caliber, he's going to be getting paid the max regardless. He can sign wherever he wants for the minimum.
But also Dame
and he can go to any team in the league.
By the time Dame comes back, what will he be, like 36?
Yeah,
36 or
35.
Okay, 35. But coming off a major injury, hey, the Raptors should try to get in the mix on that.
We did back in the day. By the way, good thing he'll be 35 when he's healthy again. And honestly, by the way, the thing is like the timing of his injury. It's not inconceivable that he's healthy in time for the playoffs, which I think is actually a pretty important thing. Because that is the one thing that Dame's missing on his resume. Like I think you've already seen like the first reports are like the Celtics are interested, the Lakers are interested, the Warriors are interested. Like every contender should be making a call to Dame and making some sort of pitch to him. And again, it's not even going to be about the money because the money is the same for him. He's gonna get like this money from that he's already earned. He's basically getting paid the max for the next 2 years. But like he can go home to like the Warriors, for example, where he's from Oakland, and he could just join the Warriors. Well,
I think
on a minimum.
I think if Dame is coming back as perhaps a diminished version, he should just recreate himself into like the league's greatest six man. Yeah, it's like he just comes off the bench, just juices the offense, and I think Golden State is actually a good spot for that. And then he'll be in closing lineups like.
There's no there's no bad spot for to have Dame Lillard coming off
Dame
the bench,
and Steph Dame and Steph
making the
together,
minimum.
Yeah.
Dame and Steph together is insane, and he gets to play with Jimmy like he wanted to in Miami.
Right. There you go.
Oh my God.
But also, if Dame goes to New York, for example, because the Knicks needed someone else who can dribble that ball and make plays.
Jordan Clarkson needs his shots, so we're gonna have to take that into consideration. So,
well, how many buyout guys can you really get at this point? But
man, you're right though. Dame's gonna swing the championship next season.
This is like, I mean, he's the big winner and all. I mean, to the extent that you can be a winner after tearing your Achilles at age 34.
Right.
This is as good a situation as he could have hoped for. Like, he gets his money, and now he just gets to choose his next destination.
Guys, you know where he's gonna go? He's gonna go to OKC. Imagine if the Thunder just add Dame
Adam Silver, step in and act, okay?
They just add Dame for the playoff run next season.
No, Adam Silver got to step in and block this trade, man. I don't care, or block the signing, man.
The funniest thing is I just remembered the other day the Presti traded for Gordon Hayward last season and he did nothing.
Oh yeah, remember he was like,
less than nothing, dude.
And then Presti came out, he's like, he sucked.
He was like, that was a brick.
Well, I think there was also like Hayward. I don't know if it was Hayward himself or Hayward's agent, but they basically put out a statement or quote or whatever that was like, the Thunder didn't put me in position to succeed or whatever. And then,
oh my God.
And then literally no team tried to sign him, so he just retired. It's like,
Do you guys remember the one?
That's a
free
massive
agency
L
year?
to take after blaming it on the organization.
Do you remember that one free agency year where Gordon Hayward was like the biggest free agent?
Yeah,
And then
right.
he like held everyone hostage until like I think the 4th of July weekend in the States before releasing like a Players Tribune. And Windhorse was like, "Yo, my wife's gonna leave me, man. Hurry up."
Yo, Windhorse has had so many real moments, man. I actually respect Windhorse so much.
He's like, my wife almost
Yeah,
left me when the
'cause-
Cavs traded for Isaiah Thomas.
Because he was maybe going to the Cavs that summer, I remember.
Yeah, there was all that talk.
Yeah.
He visited the Cavs, like it was like a mini KD type thing where he visited all these teams, and then
He went.
unfortunately he got the injury too in
Of course,
Boston. So,
right,
oh my
right.
god, yeah.
Hayward in that playoff run with the Thunder, he played 46 minutes. You guys want to guess what his usage rate was in those 46 minutes?
Is it higher or lower than Pat McCaw's like 10, basically?
Way lower.
How is that even possible? Even
I don't know.
accidentally, you got to end a possession. Like you
Yeah,
just
you
hold the ball
think,
for a
right?
shot clock violation. That's time for usage.
Yo, bro's the white Tony Snell, man.
46 minutes, 3% usage rate.
That's not even possible mathematically. Like
He
you might
took
get-
he took 3 shots, missed them all, had no turnovers, so he couldn't contribute
use
to the
those
usage that
possessions.
way.
Taking
no
three
free
shots is incredible in the whole playoffs.
Yo, that's actually unbelievable.
Oh
man.
my god. Yeah. Anyways.
All right, so I mean, I don't know. The Bucks. I mean, Giannis got to ask out eventually. I mean, there was. This is the report that I was mentioning earlier with Chris Haynes reporting that Giannis was like shocked, upset, surprised. Look, I'm not saying I don't believe in Giannis, because like it is what it is. But like, there is this part about Giannis where I'm just like, did you know? I mean, like, there was the same thing that happened last time when they traded Drew Holiday for Dame. The idea was like, oh, he's beside himself. Like Drew Holiday was his brother, and I'm like, what? Does he always have to do PR spin after every major decision that happens with the Bucks? Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, I'm like, this is almost corny to me, man. Just let it happen. This is happening on your account. There's no way the Bucks didn't come to him and like, hey, do you want Myles Turner?
Giannis is forever cool to me for not throwing hands on John Halliburton after
okay.
that series. So the restraint that he showed, like, I really respect. Because he really should have fought everybody after that game.
He really should have.
He should have thrown hands at John Horst for trading Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma, in my opinion. But
That's why I'm liking the Wizards. Yeah,
that can't be why you're liking the Wizards.
Yo, wait, hold on. Time out. Why do you like the Wizards again?
Well, no, we're getting to a segment.
Give me the case.
No, but we're getting to a segment where we're going to talk about the East.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
saving
okay.
it for that.
Okay,
I have my 2 early East standings for next season. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Everybody stay for our Wizards takes. Yeah, don't leave. Yeah.
What a plug.
Don't leave.
Okay. The next question I had was basically just like the Nuggets. I've been really impressed with the Nuggets. They have the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic. As a Canadian, I'm obligated to say co-best player in the world. But
No. Jokic is on his own level. Come
man,
on.
Shea's a championship. Is a champion of everything, man. Scoring, the regular season, the conference finals, the NBA finals.
Trying to get a Team Canada plug here? Or what?
Absolutely, man.
Okay.
I love one of those MVP shirts. But yeah, I mean, like, are the Nuggets back to contention? Because like they've made probably to me like the biggest amount of meaningful additions to an existing very good team. They switch out Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson. They switch out Dario Saric for Jonas Valanciunas. They've re-signed Bruce Brown after Bruce Brown got the bag for 2 years, which, by the way, did include the Raptors paying the majority of that bag. Tim Hardaway Jr. As well. They've added him. Joe Wolfond, where are you on the Denver Nuggets, man?
Yeah, I mean, why are we saying back to contention? Like, you don't think they were a contender last year? They did. They took the Thunder to 7.
Okay, they did. Okay, fine. I don't know. Did you feel like they had enough? Like, like every game was every series they had like 3 playable players beside Jokic.
Hey, they were a couple Lou Dort bombs away in Game 5 from probably taking that series. It was looking
And
tight
they were I think had an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter of Game 4.
Sure.
Also, like
Yeah,
they had their chances. Obviously, Game 7 was a blowout, but they could
Like
have won that series.
give the Thunder credit for those fourth quarter comebacks. I don't want to take it away from them.
No, and like
Denver was
ultimately,
right
I think
there.
The Thunder were the better team without a doubt
Sure.
on paper. But yeah, of course, like the Nuggets could have won that series. Like, yeah, they needed that craziness at the end of game one. Aaron Gordon hits that bomb to tie game 3 to send that one to overtime. Like, there were things that went their way in that series also, but I think for 6 games they were right there, like neck and neck with OKC.
I guess my question for you, Wolfond, then is like, so you look at the Nuggets roster now that they've added these pieces. If you were to go back and line that team up against the Thunder in the second round, like, do you think the Nuggets would get through based on these additions?
I mean, I'd still like the way that I would do it as a intellectual exercise would still just be to like stack the teams up on paper and say like, who do I think's better, who do I think would win, and I would still pick the Thunder.
Yeah.
But like, if you're looking at where the Nuggets came up short, like what undercut them in that series, it's like, I mean, first of all, MPJ was playing with one shoulder, which is like,
right.
You know, you can't take for granted that would have happened to him in a future series, that like Cam Johnson's going to be healthier, you know. So I think really it was just about their depth, right? Like, they had no depth whatsoever, and the way that they've managed to replenish that depth with, again, like we talked about the Bucks just having like very few levers to pull. I didn't think the Nuggets had very many levers to pull either, and I think the way that they managed to do it was actually very elegant. Like, I think MPJ is like a better shooter than Cam Johnson, but like not that much of a better shooter. He's a better rebounder, but like Cam Johnson is still a very, very good shooter who should be able to play extremely well with Jokic, and he's just a better all-around player, in my opinion. Like, better defender, better at making stuff happen with the ball in his hands. Like, I think that's an awesome addition for them that's like not really a downgrade at all. If anything, might be like an upgrade on MPJ, and they are able to make that deal. Obviously, it cost them like an unprotected pick way down the road when Jokic is presumably going to be past his prime. But like, worry about that then, man. Like, for now, you got arguably an upgrade at that position, and you created the flexibility that has like allowed you to bring in these new guys. Like JV, maybe the best backup center that Jokic has had. Like, Mason Plumlee was like pretty effective for them in that role for a couple of years, but like,
we talking Mason Plumlee or Jonas Valanciunas? Yeah, that's
look,
not
I mean, look, I know how people feel about Plumlee, but like the couple of years that he was there, he was actually, especially because he can actually pass, and so they were able to have this sense of like
this is the most Wolfond thing ever.
Well, they are able to have like a sense of continuity with their offense going from Jokic to Plumlee, right? And those guys actually played together a little bit, and those lineups were effective. But point is, you could make a case that JV is the best backup center that Jokic has had.
Yeah. My only thing with JV is how's his conditioning, because he keeps getting bigger and bigger, and then you're gonna have to run back and forth in Denver. But again, he's upgrading on DeAndre Jordan, who's he's like their Garrett Temple. Like, if he's in the game, like, he shouldn't be in the game. No offense, man.
Yeah, no, I think
so. I think that's I mean, and like, dude, I don't know what the Kings are doing. Like, that's a gift that they gave the Nuggets, man. And I know that I guess it saved them some money, but like, dude, Saric was terrible last year.
Yeah, not playable.
And him having them having given him the player option on the second year was like honestly looking disastrous. And the fact that they were able, again, with like the financial flexibility that they gave themselves with the MPJ deal, the fact that they were able to flip him into like an actual playable, solid backup center is like, man, that's a home run to me. So I love that addition. I'm not a big THJ guy generally, but getting him for the minimum, like, he at least can play. Like, you can throw him on the floor for 20 minutes and he's going to be able to survive. You know he's going to be able to shoot the ball.
Right.
They needed more three-point shooting. And obviously we know what Bruce Brown can do in the confines of a Jokic-centric environment.
Oh, man. Yeah.
He hasn't necessarily thrived away from that, but we saw like he can be on the floor playing big minutes in the finals as a Denver Nugget. And so that's just like a huge shot in the arm for their depth and what they needed probably more than anything. I love what they did.
Yeah, I think them rolling in now, like, they have a good solid 8-9 guys, if they're healthy, and I think they address like very specific needs. And I don't even, who is the Nuggets general manager?
It's like it's their interim guy. Like they haven't hired anybody on a full-time basis. I can't even remember his name right now.
Yeah, I don't even know who's making these brilliant moves, but I guess whoever this unnamed GM
Ben
is, you know?
Ben Tenzer.
Oh, Tenzer out of Tenzer for this for this offseason. Ben Tenzer might be executive of the year. Let me check the odds on that.
Yo,
but...
Ben 10 is tough.
Definitely in the running for interim GM of the year at this point.
Yeah, but it's funny you mentioned the Kings too, like giving the Nuggets JV. The Kings is like the guy who your friend who has a long gambling problem, and then like for a year he's like okay again. He's like, yo, I'm good.
The Kings are Malik Beasley?
I found new hobbies, and now you just see him like a year later, and he's back. He's back chasing at the blackjack table. I feel like they had that light the beam era for like one good season.
Yeah.
And now they're just back to being the Kings. Like, what the hell's going on?
It's crazy, man.
I believe they did that move to save some money so that they can sign Dennis Schroeder.
That's right. Wasn't there talks that they were going to
for the full MLE, man?
Yo, we love Schroeder, but like, damn, man, we're not giving
Dennis Schroeder, a professional bag getter, man.
We're not giving no MLE, no MLSE, like nothing to Dennis Schroeder.
No, honestly, there has to be a record for how many years a player has ever gotten the mid-level exception. I feel like Dennis Schroeder will be the one who will take this record because he's just a perfect mid-level type player.
But I think
the Kings are the perfect team that talked themselves.
Yeah,
because he's going to start for them. No, are they going to try to flip Malik Monk?
Yeah, weren't they? They were talking sign and trade and just give up Monk to Detroit or something too at one point.
Well,
which like, what are they doing, man?
Well, there's another reason, but
right.
I'll tell you guys offline. Yeah.
But Will, I was gonna ask you like right now I have you gotta have OKC as a favorite in the West.
Yeah.
And then I think my next tier I put Denver and Houston there. Is there any other team that you would throw in there up top? Like, does Minnesota make it to that tier for you?
I mean, Minnesota's defense is still pretty great. That's still on paper a pretty good matchup against Denver. They did beat Denver previously. Man. You know what?
I think tier 2 is just those two teams, personally.
Yeah.
Minnesota really, I guess, like they're just kind of sitting out for offseason right now. I guess they re-signed.
They kind of just reloaded. Yeah, they like brought back their team.
Well, I mean, they lost Nikhil. So.
Oh, right. Yeah, lost Nikhil.
It's like not an insignificant loss for them.
No, for sure. It felt like they only really had like 7, maybe 8 playable guys when Terrence Shannon was in the game.
But I mean, they weren't going to be able to bring, like, they wanted to bring back Nas. Obviously, they couldn't re-sign both those guys and keep Randall and not be like a second apron team, which was obviously not right.
But
and they were a second apron team last year, I think. So they were not looking to be a repeater for obvious
the West.
Reasons.
Though I think the West has 3 great teams, but I kind of give Minnesota the benefit of the doubt because I don't want to take away from them making the conference finals like 2 seasons in a row. You know, like they've.
Yeah, but I think you can. I don't think it's taking away from that by just saying like, look, these other 2 teams who were both very good last year, got better, and the T-Wolves. I mean, they're banking on internal improvement, which like could be a path to them getting better, but.
Yeah. Who's a fourth team in the West for you then? If you were to pick like after those 3, would it be Minnesota?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'm gonna go with my Clippers. Yeah.
Oh,
of course
my
you
God.
are.
They're back. Yeah.
Oh my God, what did they do again? What did the Clips even do, man? It's
been
a pretty quiet offseason.
They added Brook Lopez,
Wow.
young
Wonderful.
and spry, and they've got, they re-signed Nick Batum. Yeah.
Goodness, man.
They're
Every
locked in.
30-year-old in the league is on the LA Clippers,
Yeah,
man.
they're locked in. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
he is a huge upgrade over who was playing there? Drew Eubanks and Ben Simmons. He is a huge improvement over those guys. So I don't know. I think the fundamental problem is James Harden turns into a pumpkin in the playoffs, and that was never addressed. But I don't know what to do, man.
Hey, the 19th year is gonna be the year. Yeah. This is it. This is the year.
But if you're saying like top 4 seeds potentially, I could see it being the Clippers. Like,
yeah, there we go. We're right back on buying into the Clippers again
great.
next season.
Hey man,
Harden, Zubac, that's like a regular season wins machine, man. Like they'll just run that pick and roll for days, and then like going from Zubac to Brook as like your center tandem, that's pretty tight.
Slower,
well, Will was a little high on the Mavs when we talked the other day. You had the Mavs kind of.
Hey man, Kyrie comes back healthy. Cooper Flag pops as a rookie. Like they actually.
But Kyrie's not going to come back healthy this season. Like he's not going to play this year at all.
That's a Dame team.
No, but I mean, like, no. What about like? I think he's like due back in February or whatever. Like that would be a whole year. I think of him being out.
He's not coming back in February, man.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Well, D'Angelo Russell, you better hold down the 4, my guy. No, I think Minnesota's the 4th best team in the West, and I feel like we got to give him that respect. Also, Ant maybe makes another jump. The more he learns how to pass, the better I think he will be as a player. Over out east, all the talk this offseason with all the Achilles injuries was who is going to take advantage and rise up in a weakened Eastern Conference. We've seen several teams throw their hat into the ring. Joe Wolfond, who is actually going to capitalize and make the biggest jump in this weak-ass Eastern Conference?
I think it's obviously going to be the Wizards, right? As we've discussed.
Yeah, don't be sarcastic about the Wizards, man.
Look, I'm a big Alex Sarr guy. I think he's got a bright future in the league. Bilal, big defensive upside with Bilal.
Yes. Sure.
So yeah, no, I think the obvious picks are Orlando and Atlanta.
Okay.
Orlando maybe like the more logical pick, just because I think when they were fully healthy, which was like, I don't know, for like 8 games last year, I thought they looked quite good, and they were just ravaged by injuries. And I mean, maybe you could say that that's chronic stuff with Suggs, but is always going to be there, and you're always going to have to worry about injuries with that team. I don't think that's necessarily true. It's like Franz and Paolo both weirdly picked up oblique injuries like a couple weeks apart. And their best guys were just rarely ever on the floor together. But really, like, they were elite defensively from start to finish, and it was just their offense, yet again, that let them down. And so I'm trying to remember, because I wrote about this like after their season ended when I was thinking about kind of like what they needed to do to take the next step forward. But in terms of like relative to league average, last year was the 3rd worst season for them in franchise history, their relative offensive rating. And that's for a team that has been bottom 10 in offensive rating 13 years in a row.
That's unbelievable.
So that's how bad their offense was last year, and they were still a 500 team because of how good their defense was. And three-point shooting specifically, let me see if I can pull this up because I wrote it down somewhere. But it was like the worst three-point shooting season in like, I want to say 10 years. And the team, I think it was like a Lakers team, like one of the years they won like 17 games. Might have even been Kobe's last year. That was like the worst three-point shooting. Here we go. All right. Okay, so they shot 31.8% from 3 this last season, right?
That's incredible. You know what? Maybe IQ would fit there, man.
Go, let's make the deal, man.
Okay, so 31.8% from 3 was the worst for any team since the 2015-16 Lakers, who won 17 games. That's how bad their three-point shooting was. And they throw Desmond Bane into the mix, like just straight up one of the best shooters in the world, who also can like do some stuff with the ball in his hands. Like I'm actually on record saying I feel like what they needed almost as much as they needed shooting was like an actual kind of on-ball creator, like an initiator. I really like the Trae Young idea for them. Obviously, they wanted to go in a different direction because they didn't want to compromise their defensive identity at all.
Okay.
Hence why they would not trade Jalen Suggs for Immanuel Quickley. But Bane brings, I think, enough of that, and obviously they're hopeful that they'll get enough of that from like Franz and Paolo that they don't need a traditional point guard. I think there's enough sort of offensive creation and playmaking and hopefully enough shooting there where their offense can be like average, and then their defense just projects to be elite again, and then you're looking at a team that's going to win 50-plus games and potentially be up near or at the top of the East.
My only thing was like... I don't think that. Look, I think Orlando definitely needed more shooting. Like that's like the number one thing, and that's why they paid such a premium for Desmond Bane. I still have concerns in terms of their playmaking because I think whenever I watch them in the playoffs, it's Paolo having the ball even more than Jalen Brunson and passing a lot less than Jalen Brunson, and kind of in the mid range just pounding, taking 30 shots. And I'm just like, look, I don't care who else you add to it. I think that you need both him and also the coaching to accept the fact that this is just not a winning style of basketball.
Agreed.
And I would love for them to have added a lead playmaker. I still think that that's probably what they're missing. You know, as much as Suggs is like pretty great at what he does, he's not a guy who's setting the table and just getting everyone into their positions. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, like, this is a team that's, like, crying out for, like, 2019 Kyle Lowry, basically. Like, that type of player, you know? And just because they have lots of guys who can score and get to their spots, but they're also young guys who want to get to their slots by themselves, and that eats up the whole possession. And I think Franz has a similar problem, although less than Paolo does. And it's hard because, like, Paolo is, like, clearly, like, an incredible scorer. His, like, scoring is held up in the playoffs, which I think is really impressive for a young guy against some pretty good defenses that they faced. But they need somebody to pass the ball and actually just get people in the position. Also, they can just play a lot faster, too, man. My goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, no, all of this is why I thought they should have swung for Trae Young instead, and I also think he would have come cheaper than Bane did.
Probably, yeah.
But really, that was my only criticism of the Bane trade, was that I liked that one avenue better for them, and I agree on the playmaking front. But I also understand a team being reluctant to get into the Trae Young business just because of what that means for how you have to play. Like,
right.
You get Trae Young, and you are a Trae Young team. You have to make all kinds of compromises defensively. And I think the Magic are better positioned to do that than almost any other team because of the pieces that they have and the ways that they'd be able to cover for him. But, like, you have to change the way that you play offense. You have to change a lot of things about your team to accommodate him. Whereas Bane is more of a guy who you can kind of just plop in and is just going to be additive in pretty much every way.
All right,
Alex,
so
who do you like in a weekend East, man?
well, I think Atlanta. You know, I like them. You know, hopefully Kristaps Porzingis is healthy. I think they have a good team there to move up.
Was there any explanation of what happened with Kristaps? That's still a big mystery for me.
They weren't trying to they couldn't figure it out, right? Like the doctors, like there was no like official report.
Like the CDC stepped in, they're like, we don't know what's happening here.
So
here's like how the pandemic started, man.
Here's my too early top 10 in the East, okay?
Okay,
I
let's
want
hear
to
it.
hear from you guys. So number 1, the New York Knicks. This is
Okay.
regular season. Number
Sure.
2, Cleveland. Number 3, Atlanta. 4, Orlando.
Wow.
5, Detroit. 6, Philadelphia. 7, Indiana. 8, Toronto. And they will be playing the 9th seeded Milwaukee Bucks in the play-in or something. I don't know. 9, Milwaukee. And 10, my surprise, the Washington Wizards
Let's go.
are in the play-in. They replaced the Chicago Bulls as the new play-in team.
First off, the Chicago Bulls will definitely be in the play-in next year. I think that's like, if you could bet on that, I would actually put so much money down on the Chicago Bulls playing a play-in game.
I think I agree with Wolfond here with like Atlanta, Orlando. I feel like those teams are gonna make a jump. I'm like weirdly curious about Philadelphia again. Like if they're healthy, what that looks like. Like there's a lot of talent on that roster. We can go through the same questions about Joel Embiid's health, but I do feel like there's a lot more depth there now and upside with their younger players that I think they'll be an interesting team. Indiana, I'm curious how far they're going to slide back without Halliburton and losing Myles Turner. Like I think there's a pretty wide range for them there. Maybe they could still be a really good regular season team. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe Giannis and 4 NBA players is good enough to be like top 8, top 6 in the East. Like there's just so many. I think the variance is just crazy for every team. Like, and who knows? Like I put New York number 1, but I wouldn't even call them like the favorites in the East. Like I got to see how these other teams shake out. Like Orlando could be in the finals next year. I would not be shocked.
I'd be a little shocked, man.
I don't know. Like
I'd
I
be
feel
a
like
little
teams have a
shocked about
chance. So.
Are we just sleep on the Cavs? I mean, I know Wolfond's like a yearly like you've talked me into the Cavs
Never
once a
sleep
year.
in on the Cavs.
Once a year, you talk me into the Cavs. So
Yeah.
are we sleeping on them a little bit?
To me, they're the clear favorite in the East right now. And
okay.
people can say what they want to say about what has become of that team in the playoffs. I mean, I don't think it's really fair to judge what happened to them. Honestly, the last 2 years, just because of how banged up they were. Like they were a shell of a team by the end of the Celtics series a couple of years ago.
Right.
Mitchell wasn't playing, Allen wasn't playing, Garland was like a husk of himself. Garland was like once again barely able to play in the second round this year. Mobley was playing on a bad wheel and came back, missed a game, came back for the end of the series, wasn't quite the same. Garland was just like clearly not the same. Mitchell was like playing on a bad ankle and was like running on fumes because of the load that he had to carry.
Hunter got torn down by Mamu.
Yeah. So I just don't think it's really fair to judge what's happened to them in the playoffs and say like they're destined to implode in the spring every year. I don't think that's entirely true. I kind of think if there's one guy you could point to and be like, that dude has sort of been a letdown in the playoffs, is Jared Allen. Like, and again,
Lights are too bright.
He was injured a couple postseasons ago, but this year he was seemingly healthy and just really just didn't play well. Like, got soundly outplayed by Myles Turner in that series against the Pacers. And there are always going to be people saying, like, well, Mobley just needs to be a full-time 5. Allen's the guy you need to trade. I don't necessarily believe that. I think that team's really good. I think they're, if they get a healthy playoff run, to me, they should be considered the favorite in the East. Philly is just sort of always lurking as that wild card team. Like, can you get one healthy playoff run out of Joel Embiid? Like, manage the hell out of his workload in the regular season to where he plays like 40 games and like you get him to the playoffs healthy.
If you told me you could guarantee me that Embiid would be healthy for a full playoff run, like I would take Philly. Yeah.
The issue was you can't really load manage Embiid because they don't have enough quality players to make the top 6 in the East. Even this year with Embiid sitting and playing half the season.
That's fair.
Yeah. Plus they lost my guy Gershon Yabusele, man.
Oh, the Yabusele sweepstakes.
Yeah. Guys, he
goes to the Knicks, man.
I'm just looking at the Wizards roster, man. It's a great mix. It's a great mix of young and old. You got Malcolm Brogdon.
That's old.
Right? You got Bilal Coulibaly.
Young.
That's young. You got Chris Middleton.
Old.
Right? But then you also have Alex Sarr.
Young.
You got a little Marcus Smart.
Old.
And then maybe a little. Oh, they got CJ McCollum too. These guys are gonna average 130 points a game, man. The 7 seconds.
Defense, yeah, they're gonna cough it up.
The seconds or less Wizards are back, man. They got Rashawn Holmes too. This team is deep, man.
They've had that Holmes been on the market for years.
This team is so deep. Bob Carrington. Oh my God,
team is what we call fake deep.
Tell me Bob Carrington's real first name, man. Bob's a nickname. What's the real name?
Bob. Yeah.
Bob, a.k.a. Bub.
Yeah.
Carrington. You be talking about Carlton Carrington?
Carlton Carrington. He just lost all his swag, man.
You can see why he went with Bub, because Carlton Carrington doesn't exactly roll
this
off
is like,
the tongue.
you guys remember Speedy Claxton?
Yeah.
Craig Claxton.
No way.
What's this? He's a white boy from Utah now, or what?
Craig Claxton is. Oh my God, that's a good one.
But no, I want an apology from you guys when the Wizards are top 6 next season. Yeah.
Okay, they're never going to be top 6, but you could talk me into everything goes right.
Man.
They go top. They're the 10th seed and they play the play-in.
That'd
be a great season for them.
They have a vet lineup and a young lineup. Like they're loaded.
Oh man,
they're loaded, man. McCollum, Middleton.
Yeah, why do they have 5 30-year-olds and then 5 20-year-olds?
Yeah.
It's actually pretty incredible.
Guys, I'm all on the Wizards. Let's get Wolfond, give us your two early Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals. Yeah.
Ooh. All right.
Hell's Will Riley, man.
He's Canadian, man. Allow Liban, man. He just wrote a great piece about him, man.
Oh right.
Toronto Star.
I retweeted that. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna choose to believe in my Cavs and say that they're there in the East Finals.
Oh man.
Playing against
Don't overthink it.
The Knicks, even if that's boring.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
I think there's more proof of concept with the Knicks than there is with like Orlando and Atlanta, even though I think those teams are going to be better, should be in that mix. I'll go Cavs, Knicks in the East.
Will LeBron be on the Cavs by then?
Whew.
God, man.
Dude, I think this is just like more classic posturing from LeBron. Like
I'm so tired of this LeBron thing. It's
honestly
over.
think,
it's over now. Yeah, it's like over.
Yeah, I think he's just like trying to see what he can still get away with at this point in time. Like I honestly think he has every intention of finishing his career with the Lakers, and he just wants to feel something at this point. He's like, let's just put out a statement and just like, I don't know, get some of those juices flowing again and pretend that I still have some leverage. Like, honestly, because I don't like, he doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't have that leverage anymore.
No, it's over. It's over.
And I think part of him must realize that.
No, it's over. Okay, what about in the West?
Bro, I'm older than both of you, man.
No, chill, dog. Wait, yeah, he is.
He is. I'm not even kidding. He actually is.
No, I know.
No, I'm older than him by 2 months.
What?
October.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do at this stage of life is call NBA players who are younger than me just like ancient, old as dirt.
Well,
like, geriatric motherfuckers.
Wolfond, I
hear you,
crashed
man.
out the other day because I realized I'm 4 years older than Garrett Temple, and we talk about him like he's the oldest head in the league.
He is.
Meanwhile, if I ever ran into Garrett Temple, I'm giving him life advice. Yeah.
I mean, I still don't think Garrett Temple would be coming to you for life advice, but like you could
Wow.
try.
Thanks for the non-endorsement.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying, just being older doesn't mean you're worldlier, you know? Like,
Oh, wow.
it's not always how it works.
Wow, this guy coming in hot. You know what? For all the jokes I've made, I will accept it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about in the West? Yeah.
Okay, in the West,
Come
I
on,
feel like
zag a little, bro. Zag a little, bro.
the Thunder are gonna be there. Like, I can't see a team knocking off
Nope,
the Thunder
out in the
before the
second round
conference
for me.
finals. But
Yep.
I'm gonna go. I think I'm going Rockets as the team that's gonna play them there.
Man, I'm so excited to watch that Rockets team.
I mean, like
Load
the
it.
Nuggets are gonna be awesome. The Nuggets definitely have a chance,
Yeah.
a really good chance. But
Man.
I like the way that the Rockets are built to counter the Nuggets, just with like all of the bigs that they have, and then like all of the big multi-positional wings that they have, where
Yeah.
they can do some of the cross matching.
They have everything.
Just make life really difficult. And they have Kevin Durant. Like, that guy's still
Yeah.
really good.
They got Clint Capella, just like, yo, I'm the third string center if you need me. Like, crazy.
He's really like I'm chilling, man.
No, that was
thanks for paying me.
that was arrogance. The Rockets are just like, yeah, we'll scoop him too. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Hey, good for
They
Steven
just
Adams,
have they
by
have
the way,
so much lineup versatility. Like, they could play two centers at once. They could play no centers. Like, they could run out some
yeah.
really effective small ball lineups.
Yeah, they could try the Sam Mitchell 3-center lineup if they want to, man.
Sure.
Oh my god.
Like, I mean, they were basically they were playing like kind of heavy minutes with all of Adam Şengün and Jabari Smith on the floor together in the playoffs
Right,
last
yeah,
year.
yeah.
And those lineups were, I mean, they didn't score super effectively, but like they
But they got every
defended like
rebound.
crazy, and they got a ton of offensive rebounds. So
Yeah.
the one thing with Houston is like I still am a little bit worried about their guard depth. Like, it's not
Yeah, oh, for sure.
not ideal. But you know, I guess they hope that they can just sort of make up for that with the shot creation that they can get from the front court.
I mean, Houston plays a different brand of basketball, man. Like, it's
Absolutely.
not even about efficiency ball; it's possession ball with them. So
Yes.
Yeah, this would require the Phoenix to make the playoffs, but I would love for Kevin Durant to run through all his former teams. So go Phoenix, Golden State, and then OKC.
Ooh,
And then
I
who
like
would
that.
and then he
Brooklyn in
sees-
the finals.
He sees Brooklyn in the finals.
Yegor Devin versus Kevin Durant coming up
Ben!
next on ESPN.
Ben Seraph, bang, bang, and then Kevin Durant's foot is on the line.
Oh my goodness.
Will, what is your give me your East and West Finals picks?
I
Too
want
early.
to see a rematch of Denver and OKC. I think Denver coming back with a full roster, I think is going to be really cool. I actually think Denver's going to win the championship. Actually, I really like the moves. And I think they're going to be the one and only team in this decade of parity to win it twice in the decade. And out
You don't
east,
see the Thunder winning another one?
no.
I would take
think-
the
I think-
field
I-
versus the Thunder if you
I
gave
think
that to
they're
me.
getting
For the
priced
rest
out.
of the decade?
I think this year I will pick Denver, and then afterwards they're gonna have real money issues.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be
again,
shocked if OKC only won this one. I honestly wouldn't be shocked. I know they're positioned well.
I wouldn't be shocked, but like
Yeah.
if you set the over under at like 0.5 more championships for this Thunder core, I'd take the over for sure.
Okay,
I
so
probably would
let's-
take the
let's-
over
let's-
as well,
Let's
but-
make this bet. Yeah.
They're
much?
gonna get very expensive very quickly, and I don't see OKC being willing to pay to keep all their enormous assets in the door. But
I'm gonna say this: I think the Thunder have a better chance of winning the championship next year than the Wizards have of cracking the top 10 in the East.
wow.
We'll see.
No,
We'll see who's right. We'll see who's right.
Can you parlay that? I think that's a really. You might have to go directly to the head of the sports book.
Who is the Wizards head coach again? Brian something?
Brian Keefe.
Yo, Brian Keefe. Send him this segment, man. I'm backing Brian Keefe and my boys, man. Let's go.
Goodness.
So,
man.
well, listen, we'll figure out the terms of the bet. If both
Yeah.
of the things happen, it's a wash.
Yeah, you got
Um,
it. You got it. Yeah, I'm so in on the Wizards.
All right, let's go.
All right. Anyway, out east, I don't even care. The East playoffs is gonna be so nasty.
No,
to
East will be
watch.
fun, man.
No, man, it's not gonna be any fun when Cleveland wins the Eastern Conference, man. I'm
they're
just
not
not gonna
gonna.
respect. I'm not gonna respect that. I'm sorry. I
They're
just
not
can't.
gonna, man.
Yeah, give me the Knicks in the finals. The Knicks in the finals would be cool. But
So who are they playing in? Who are they playing in the conference finals?
They're playing Denver for me, and Denver's beating them.
No, but in the East Conference Finals, Knicks. You gotta pick that second team. Zag a little, boys.
Indiana goes back to the conference finals for the third year in a row, all banged up and everything, but they got all those point guards. They still got their
With
system
TJ
in place.
McConnell just pulling 5-footers.
No Myles Turner.
Okay.
They still
That's
go
like,
back,
dude, if
man.
the Pacers go back to the conference finals next year, that's like punch Pascal's ticket to the Hall of Fame at that point.
Wow.
Exactly,
if it isn't
man.
punched already.
No, let's do it. You want me to zag? Indiana goes back to the conference finals, man.
All right. My East Finals is gonna be Philadelphia versus Washington, and out
my
west,
God, man.
out west, I'm gonna have Denver and Denver and Houston. OKC gets bounced in the second round.
What? Okay.
Yeah. Washington goes further than OKC in the playoffs. Yeah.
I mean,
Brian
dude,
Keefe.
I want to see you stand behind this prediction. Like you could get crazy odds on a parlay like that.
Yeah, I always get crazy odds, but for some reason, the money never deposits the next day.
For some reason.
City boys.
No,
right now.
love the Brian Keefe for Coach of the Year and Ben Tenzer as the executive of it.
Yo, learning who Ben Tenzer is on the show was great, man.
Yeah, so that's
Did not know it was tough. Okay, last thing before we go, and Joe Wolfond, if you need to go, just like let us know because we have held you for 2 hours. But you know.
I mean, dudes, my schedule could not be more wide open at this
Wait,
point.
I didn't want to say it. I let you say
we
that.
don't want to be that guy, you know.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that. Yeah, we don't.
All right, well, since you have so much time, I mean,
Wait, did he just leave?
this guy said I'm free. And
Yo,
then
this guy
left.
finally zagged on us.
Oh no.
No, he'll come back. I think he got too. Sometimes, yeah, he's back. He gets too excited. People get too excited and log off.
They shake their camera and stuff.
Yo, we thought you legit left us.
I mean, it was an accident, but I thought about just staying logged off after.
I was saying it's a great zag. This would be the greatest zag.
So like I'm free and then I leave. Okay, before we get to just some of the top comments here, just want because the Raptors did announce their summer league roster. Boy,
Goodness.
let me read you. Let me ask you this question, and then I'm going to read the names, and then you're going to answer that question.
Oh my God.
Are the Toronto Raptors going to win the NBA Summer League championship in 2025? Because the roster that they're sending down to Summer League, we got 77, Jamison Battle, 11, Colin Castleton, 22, Ulrich Shamshay. Wow, these are a lot of pocket pairs.
That's
20.
future Orlando Magic Colin Castleton to you.
Oh, man.
That's right.
That could be Mac McClung by the
Yo,
time.
he's from Florida. Let's bring him home.
He
Yeah.
went to Florida.
Yeah.
Tyson Degenhardt. Man, I can't wait to find out who that person
That's
is.
a Game of Thrones character for sure.
We got Quincy Guerrier. Shouts to Quebec. We got Chucky Hepburn.
Chucky Hepburn, Audrey Hepburn, Raps in 5. Yeah.
Jarrell Joyner.
Oh, double J?
Jarkel Joyner, man. We got
Jarkel
Pocket
Joyner.
Jacks.
That's what I'm going to be picking up on the strip while in Vegas. Yeah.
Tyreek Key, man.
Oh man, I have
He's the
nothing for
key.
that one. I have nothing for that one.
3 in the key. 44, by the way. So another pocket pair. 0. AJ Lawson.
Agent Zero.
55, Elijah Martin. Well, we have every double number combo. This is amazing. Elijah Martin. Number 2, Jonathan Mobo. Colin Murray Boyles at number 12. 21, Clifford Omarui. Big center, athletic. I think he's getting Exhibit 10 to come to training camp. Jamal Shed, 23. That's my 23 is Jamal Shed. 32, Annie Waniawa Tate Jones, I believe he's from New Zealand. That's pretty cool. And then Jacoby Walter, number 14, head coach, gonna be James Wade, formerly of the Chicago Sky.
Oh, we got Wade.
Oh,
Yo, they got-
James Wade.
They got LeBron, but we got Wade.
Yo, we got the Heatles on our team. So my
Let's
question to
go.
you both: Are we winning? Are we taking home the Summer League championship, boys?
No, Wizards. Wizards will be winning the summer league. What about you, Wolfond? Yeah.
Wizards sending their whole team in Summer League.
Wizards will win the in-season tournament as well. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No, they're not. I don't think that roster is taking home the title.
Really?
But dare to dream.
Really?
And
Wait,
also,
hold on.
aren't you kind
roster going? What are you talking
But
about?
aren't you kind of knocked out of the summer league if you lose your first game basically?
No,
like
I
you
mean,
can't really get back there.
You can lose. You can lose one.
You can
I
lose
think.
Yeah,
one. You
but
just
then it's
can't
all
lose
point
two.
differential and everything too, right? Like,
Wait, guys, hold on. What? Our starting lineup is gonna be sick for summer league standards, guys. Summer league standards, man.
yo, there's only one person on this screen right now that's excited to watch summer league. Okay?
I'm hyped to watch this, man. We got like
Maybe two actually. Yeah, no disrespect. Wolfond probably likes summer league too.
this is like probably like 8 guys that like the Raptors actually have some level of investment in. You know what I mean? Like
but they're
all our
gonna be-
rookies from last year, which were already the bench mob was already good. By the way, before the bench mob were the bench mob in the regular season, they were the bench mob in summer league. Man, I remember that team. Fred VanVleet, Jakob Poeltl, Pascal Siakam. They were cooking in that summer league.
Deep state propaganda that you're pulling off right now. And I'm glad it's at the end of the show. Yeah, god damn. Man.
2 hours in, people are like,
Holy
people are,
crap.
yo, chat. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? This is a 6.
You
summer
know
league
how
roster.
this works. Like the top guys are gonna play like 2 games and suddenly have like a little foot sprain.
What?
And then you're gonna see all the guys that you've never heard of.
That's
Oh,
correct.
That's how summer league works.
No,
I will
man,
say, I just
we got depth, man.
shout out to my pal Nat Basin, who's like a big Wisconsin Badgers fan and has been raving about Chucky Hepburn. Said he was devastated when he transferred and thinks he's going to be really good. So he was
Okay.
excited that the Raps signed him to a
This
two-way.
is Joe Wolfond's Joe Wolfond.
Yo,
So
you-
here we go.
You found deeper propaganda than I did.
No,
man.
shouts to Nat, man. I love Nat.
Hey,
Um,
but Chucky, yeah. So Chucky got the 2-way. I think Elijah
Yeah.
Martin, the Raptors, probably gonna get him on the other 2-way as well. Like this is actually not a bad summer league, guys. I'm surprised, man.
I don't know. I'm more upset that you're roping me into the concept of this conversation. I'm willing to accept
Yo,
the
Alex,
premise.
you got tack on Raptors Summer League Championship to your Wizards Conference Finals parlay.
No, 3-way
and
parlay.
We're cooking with gas.
3-way parlay. Wizards win summer league. They win in season, and they're top 6. Yeah,
Let's go Uncut Gems Part 2, man.
yeah.
Come on,
yeah.
man.
Brian Keefe. Brian
the
Keefe,
Celtics to
coach
win
of
the
the Brian
tip-off.
Keefe, coach of the year.
Yeah.
Chris, is there still comeback player of the year? Chris Middleton, comeback player of the year.
Is he coming back to the Bucks? Because that will be the comeback. That's what should happen, man.
And who did they have a first rounder this year? Did they draft someone nice? Trey Jones? Yeah.
Trey Johnson.
Trey Johnson.
Trey Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should really learn my Wizards. Yeah, Trey
okay,
Johnson. That's my guy.
That's
I'm
okay.
serious about this Wizards thing, man.
Okay. You know
I
what?
saw them post the roster on Twitter, and I was like, wow. They got
Were you
dudes.
more excited than this? The
They
summer
got
league roster?
dudes.
You were more
Yeah,
excited
they
than
got
this?
dudes, man. Anyways.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Are you,
all
are,
right.
you are you trying to creep to 2 hours again, or
No, not
are we
really.
done?
Actually,
Okay.
I just actually am excited about the summer league roster, but you know, apparently I'm alone in this excitement. All right, let's get to wrap up. We're gonna get to some of your questions. that
we are.
Yeah, man. Guys, every show's 2 hours. You know this, all right?
Yeah, the employed guy can't complain, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. First off, we have a couple. We have people in the super chat who sent in money.
Guys,
here.
yes, send Wolfond any specific Wolfond questions. Feel free to leave them in the chat right now.
Yeah, just keep him
We'll
here,
get
man.
to them.
He's got nothing to do.
We'll
with
get
this.
to them.
Top Shot Tesla always generous in the chat. Can y'all find out the amount of the buyout? Teddy having to cut that check. It makes me smile. And get Joe some baby wipes or a drink or something. Here's $5. You know what? Next time we go out with Joe, buy one for. We're getting a Top Shot from Top Shot. Man.
Yo, I'm gonna buy you a beer tonight at the Jays game, bro.
Oh,
I can't wait.
Yo, you don't understand how special this is because Alex has insisted on raw dogging sporting events and not getting anything. Like,
No food, no drink, just
he
there
doesn't
for
pay-
sports.
and you know he doesn't pay for the tickets either because of that clout sort of level. So this guy doesn't pay for the ticket. He walks in, doesn't buy a drink, doesn't do anything. Maybe uses the washroom once and then leaves. I'm not even kidding.
There's no greater feeling than walking in and out of a sporting event knowing you've spent $0 and added 0 calories. Yeah.
Wow.
But for a game when the Jays have a chance to move into a tie for the AL East lead in July,
Oh,
you
man,
will turn up.
I'm so excited, man. I'm so excited. This is the biggest Jays game in how many years, man? It's been a few years since I've
It's
gotten
not
excited.
the biggest Jays games in how many years?
In like
man?
4 or 5 years to me, like a regular season game. They're chasing the
what?
AL East. Yeah. This is big. This is big.
I feel like we've been in more playoff chases than this. By the way, Top Shot also sent in $10. Said Masai has a clause that entitles him to a. What is that fraction? Oh, that's just percentage. Sorry, I thought that was like a number over a number. A percentage share in the rise in franchise value from when he signed. Let's say $2 billion in 2021 to $4 billion now. If Masai had 2%, that means Ted is cutting him a check for $40 million. Yo,
Wow.
Masai, if you actually negotiated this into your contract last time, All credit to you. That's the type of negotiator you would like to have running your team.
Keith Bell, he got this, man.
Yeah?
Yeah. MLSE? No, I'm not doing that Trump impersonation again.
You know how like the Masai's making 15 and that might have been a lot of money or whatever. I think the Raptors paid at least 15 million directly into Bruce Brown's banking account the last 2 years.
I think Bobby should be the new president. Like no CAA executive search. Just promote Bobby to president.
Yeah.
Promote Dan Tolzman to general manager, and let's roll.
And then we got another 5 from Top Shot Test. So now that Rogers owns everything, I'm following Alex's lead.
Oh, like he's gonna raw dog Rogers Center events is what he said.
Goodness, man. Well, there's got to be a different way to say this.
This is like the other guy on messaged me on IG and was like, "Yo, saw you got a colonoscopy. I'm gonna get one too, twinsies."
Yo, Joe, we have unthinkable levels of influence.
Yo, seemingly, man.
Unthinkable. All right. A Joe Wolfond specific question from Ace E. I'm just now noticing that Wolfond looks like someone tried to draw Pau Gasol from memory.
Is that a question?
I don't think you look like Pau Gasol, man.
Not the worst thing chat has said about our looks or anything. So this is actually pretty good. Yeah, this is a good one.
I've weirdly gotten that one before, but it's like only on like it's like for some reason on like Woodley's channel specifically, people are always saying that whenever I go on his show.
You do have a little frizzy, like the little frizzy hair. Like it is a little Pow. It is Pow.
Okay, hold on. Let me.
I'm not quite as scruffy, but
yeah, no, he's got the Pow in him.
Yeah, can you pull up? Okay. Can we do a side by side here?
Let's do a side by side. Yes.
By the way, guys, breaking.
What?
The Charlotte Hornets have signed Spencer Dinwiddie to a 1-year deal.
Oh wow.
Yeah. There we
Great.
go.
You ready to move them up your Eastern Conference power rankings?
I think they might be above the Wizards now, man.
Man, you guys are making jokes. I'm telling you.
Are we seeing the similarity here? I mean, not really, man. You guys got different noses.
I see. It's the hair. It's the hair and like the face shape. Mm-hmm. Like he's got the
face shape. I can definitely see.
He's got the power.
The
shape.
Eyebrows.
I can see it. This is not a reach to me. Yeah.
Right.
This is not a reach to me.
All right. Yeah. Is this offensive to you at all? Do you take exception to this comment?
I could be worse.
Yeah.
What have you gotten a worse comparison? Like, has there ever been like a bad comparison that you don't like?
I don't think so. Not that I can remember.
Okay.
Joe's a pretty handsome guy, so like
Oh, thanks, Will.
He not getting no bad comps, you know.
No, you're a great dude, bro.
No one's saying he looks like Popeye Jones, you know.
You're beautiful inside and out, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten the Andy Murray one a couple of times.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, touches my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. All right. Last time we tried to talk tennis, it was after the epic Sinner versus Alcaraz match, and I had nothing to contribute to that convo, so I'm not going to try to replicate it. A real question from late to class: if the Raptors finish 6th in the East this year, do we then say the roster is good or still overpaid?
Depends how far they go in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, and also you could, looking at the East this year, I feel like you could kind of back into being a top 6 seed. Like you could be a top 6 seed as like a 500 team, like 41 or 42 wins. And then you get bounced in like 5 games in the first round. It's like, okay, you were top 6 team, but you weren't really serious. I think context is everything, right? And I feel like more than just like finishing top 6 or something kind of like, I guess objective like that. It's more like, how does it look on the court? Like, does it look like the pieces fit together? Does the team make sense? Does it feel like they're moving in a positive direction where you can see a future there? I think what's going to determine, whether the front office decides, like, is the roster overpaid, is like, are we overpaying for a roster that is destined to be less than the sum of its parts? Whereas, like, if it feels like it makes sense on the court in terms of their play style, like the identity, I think, like something Alex spoke to that I really agree with was like, they just feel like they're going to be kind of average on both sides of the ball. And it feels like they need to like commit to something. And I think there's like a real power in like having an identity and like really leaning into that. And
it's supposed to be defense, no? Like,
Sorry?
Isn't that supposed to be the idea? Like, the Raps are going to be like a real serious defensive team.
But they don't have
Well,
a
do you think
roster.
they're gonna
they
be?
don't
Like,
have
are
a
they
roster that makes them like elite on that side, though.
Yeah.
And it's not like to
depends
be a
what they do,
real
RJ.
serious defensive team, you got to be a team that's like,
Well,
you know,
how
just
were we
being
second
like
in defense for half a year then?
But that
Is
was
it just a bad
that was a
roster?
lot against terrible teams and not real NBA games, though.
Yeah.
It's a half a season though.
I
you
know,
could-
but it
because
was a
there's-
half a
there's-
season of not real NBA games, though.
Well, every season has half a season of not real NBA games.
I'm
regular
not
season
buying
wise.
any stock into those numbers from the second half. Like, I'm willing to say that they improved, like in terms of their habits or whatever stuff. But the
I think
roster
there
I'm
were
not.
little
I'm not
improvements,
looking at
but-
this team now as currently constructed and thinking like, "Wow, this is going to be a team that builds its identity at the defensive end of the floor." Like they're going to try.
That's what they keep
But-
saying though.
That's okay. They can say that, but like, do they have the personnel to be like even a top 10 defense for the whole year? Maybe. Anyway, so I think. Well, that I mean, really, it's like that's what we're going to find out over the course of the years. Like, what is
Right.
this team's identity? How do all these pieces fit together? Like that is what will determine whether they kind of move forward with these pieces and they can be like, we'll swallow being a luxury tax team for this year. Like the cap's going to go up next year.
Right.
We think these pieces make sense and we want to keep them together. We don't want to make a trade just to get another tax this year because we think this group works. Like it's really going to come down to, you know, not just the wins and losses, but I think in a lot of ways, like the style, the like the aesthetics, the vibe, a lot of different things that are a little bit more intangible, I guess.
Yeah. Best case scenario, I think, for the team is I think they could sneak into top 10 in defensive rating. I think that's like the closest thing that they can reach for. Hopefully everybody's healthy, which would really go a long way. And you know, I think that they can talk themselves into, especially if Scotty makes some meaningful improvements, I think they can talk themselves into like we're a young team with some upside and upswing. I don't think as built, we don't have championship pieces in place, but at least you could talk yourself into being like a competitive, maybe even like that. I hesitate to say like even like what the Grizzlies were at the levels that they got to, because they were like the number 2 seed, but like, you know, we're never a really successful playoff team. Like they're best case scenario. I think they make the playoffs top 6 as the 6th seed, and they squeeze in a top 10 on defense. But you would need a lot of things to go your way. Going back to the Wolfond comparisons, just to put a nice ball in that. No disrespect, but I was getting a Luigi Mangione vibe.
All right, yeah, I think actually that is my cue to fucking duck out of here.
How's that your cue?
What? All right.
Yo, did he actually bounce on you? But he might have bounced for real. Yo, I don't even know what Wolfond decides is like acceptable or not. That's incredible that he bounced on us.
Yeah,
No,
actually
do not come back. No, he's gone. Yo, that's so. Why was he so offended by that?
Maybe I should have went with was Wolfond eating Gylon. I think he would have stayed for this.
From a look standpoint, setting actions aside, like how's being compared to Luigi?
Yeah, Luigi was very handsome, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna
Here's
have to
Wolfond eating Gylon courtside.
I'm gonna have to quiz Wolf. I'm gonna have to talk to Wolfond about this.
All the stories we tell on the show are relatively true. This one is absolutely true.
Legit, one of the funniest moments. This guy dipped like Kawhi.
He's like, peace.
We try to offer him Gylon and dine, and he's like, no. Oh, it's gonna be so funny when I see him at the Jays game tonight.
I didn't even show him this picture, bro. This is an iconic photo for me, man.
Oh yeah, this
City
was
Boys at the casino. Man.
This
Park
was
MGM.
when me, Cash, and Wolfond were doing great at the tables at the start of the night. Yeah. And it ended in a message to you and Jerome in the WhatsApp chat, being like at 4 a.m. being like, "Hey, City Boys lost it all," and then some.
Hey man, you guys were good. You guys were literally look at how happy you guys were at this moment.
For the record, I grinded back my last few days in Vegas and ended up being up like $100 at the end.
You did. You actually did really well at Circa.
I grinded back.
Even hate.
Yeah. So.
All right, we'll get to a couple more questions. Maybe I think Wolfond's actually gone. I don't think.
No, he's gone. No, he's gone.
He
He's gone.
legit gone?
This is not a bit.
All right.
I hope he's not gone to do what Luigi was doing. Anyways, yeah.
Well,
Do we have any more questions?
Someone said I gave Bobby an A for the offseason so far. I don't have any issues with any of the moves, so I wouldn't say A. Like A, I feel like you need to earn an A. I feel like he's done a B level job.
Right.
The offseason. I don't think he screwed anything up. You know what I mean? I think the Poeltl thing, honestly, they probably negotiated that over the summer. The fact that they got the last year of that to be like partially guaranteed, I think was already a pretty good scenario. I like the Colin Murray Boyles pick at 9. Again, they went against consensus, but I think that if you watch any tape of CMB, you can definitely see the value that he would have as a player. Mm-hmm. What else did they do? I guess some second round picks and stuff like that. They got in like a Chris Boucher replacement with Sandra Kelashvili. Like, it's solid. That's a B. That's a B though. A would be like if they managed to get under the tax and also add like a legitimate 3-and-D option to the starting lineup.
I give it an F just because it was boring.
Wow. I'll give it an A just for the hello and welcome appearance, guys.
Yeah, let's do that. Averages out to a C.
Yeah. Next one from Braden. When Alex took off the hat, it became too powerful. I'm worried Will's stardom is under threat.
Yo,
Alex, man. The hair's getting rave reviews, man.
I'm really happy. I'm really happy for my hair that my hair can finally breathe. Like the hair's been tucked under a hat for like so long.
Yeah, right.
And with the summer heat and all
you were
this
hiding
stuff,
your hairline or something. Like, why, bro? Your hair's good.
I just don't like styling my hair. I think I'm very self-conscious about how I look without a hat because I'm just so used to it and stuff. But
well, speaking of which. Lee Van says Alex looks like he's out of his mind.
This was when you showed the Vegas photo.
Oh,
when I was flashing the chips.
Oh my goodness! You know what? I think you were just happy, man. These are two of your best friends, bro.
And I'm very happy today too because I scored Coldplay tickets for next Monday at Rogers Stadium. I am so excited. Coldplay, Coldplay is really one of my favorite bands, and I can't believe I have a Coldplay and a Oasis concert coming up. This is going to be an incredible run. And then I'm going to be in Cleveland in August to watch the Clips. Oh. And I'm super... Cleveland, I'm coming.
Wait, against the Cavs? We talking Clips, Cavs?
Oh my God. Yo, I really do back the Clips in every scenario.
This guy a true Clips fan.
Yo, I look at Kawhi's knee, I'm like, yo, let God sort him out.
Whenever Kawhi runs, man, the grinding song, the beat starts playing.
I go to shows, like I just went to a hip-hop show on the weekend in New York, like I went to Kendrick Lamar's SZA. Again, just like Jagmeet, I was there for SZA.
That's right.
But I'm really excited for Coldplay. Like, this is like a 10 out of 10 level excitement for me. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like so excited.
You know what? I'm a big Coldplay fan too. Maybe actually, I guess I know. I will still be in Europe when this happens. But, this is gonna be amazing, man.
This is this coming Monday.
Oh, what? That's this week?
Yeah. I'm going with Ivy though.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Should I have asked you?
No, you did ask me. I did? You were like, yo, there's Coldplay. You love Coldplay. Coldplay's one of my favorite bands, too.
I see, but you don't see me.
Oh, if you promise me they only play their old classics and not the new stuff, which is more like, friendly.
When they inevitably do fix you, I'm definitely going to cry.
Oh, man. They're going to fix you, man.
Yellow's going to be incredible.
Yellow's going to be there.
Shiver is a deep cut that I really like.
Oh, you want them to play some deep cuts. You want to hear Parachutes.
If they do Strawberry Swing, I will definitely fall to my knees.
Oh, my goodness, man. Is there an opener?
Damn. I'm not sure.
Is this straight Coldplay?
Chucky Hepburn could open. I don't care. I do not care. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So anyways, got the Coldplay on Monday, and then, we're flying to Vegas on Wednesday, so I'm excited about next week.
Top Shot says, glad the Rogers boycott lasted 6 minutes. Hashtag Coldplay. Oh, man.
Top Shot, you know what it is, man.
It better not be like Xylo Miloto or whatever. That's when I tapped out of Coldplay. I was
what?
Like,
this like later Coldplay stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're gonna play "Don't Panic." Oh, that's another great song, man. Yo, Sparks. I'm telling you,
Sparks. Wasn't there a song called? Yeah. Oh my God, man.
And I'm not talking L.A.
Oh my God.
I'm talking Cameron Brink, man.
All right, bro.
All right. Anyway.
All right, that's it.
No more questions.
We're done.
Yeah, you know what? That's enough. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I appreciate all of you guys. Joe Wolfond, I appreciate you for tagging on for 98% of this episode. This is let us know if you liked any of those fake trades. Would you do them or not? Again, we are not GMs, and I think it's pretty clear based on what we actually proposed there. But hopefully some of them, you do like. Otherwise, go enjoy the rest of the week. I don't think the Raptors will be making too many more big moves. If they do, obviously we can drop an emergency pod. But I think the plan for the rest of the week, we actually did an interview with Colin Murray Boyles' brother, James Murray Boyles. We're going to play you that interview on Friday, get to know a little bit from the family perspective of CMB and his game. But other than that, the Raps offseason, kind of grand opening, grand closing a little bit. But, I'm just excited for Summer League. And, of course, your boys at Hello and Welcome, me, Alex, Jerome Chang, will be there. Actually, before we go, wanted to send a huge, heartfelt message to the Red Panda. You are like a mom to me. You're like my mom.
Yeah.
Red Panda, get well soon. Seeing you fall from a great height off that unicycle and injuring your wrist and getting wheelchaired off was difficult. I would say that was almost as hard to watch as the Tyrese Halliburton tearing his Achilles injury, man.
Yeah, but Red Panda, she falls down 9 times, she gets up 10, man. So we know Red Panda, she's the vet in the game. And no disrespect to Nav Bhatia, but if Nav Bhatia is in the Hall of Fame, I want Red Panda in the Hall of Fame.
There should be some win for
She
her.
deserves a spot. She's been holding down the halftime performance for years, and once again, as I've always said, she is the OG Bol. Like she is Bol. So I think she needs to be recognized because she's such a huge part of this basketball community. Yeah.
She's been in the league longer than LeBron has, man.
Yeah,
I'm not even kidding.
I'm gonna look up Red Panda and find out I'm 4 years older than her. Yeah.
No, Red Panda's in the 50s, man. Red Panda's in her 50s. Man.
Yeah,
Come on, dude.
Yeah. Pandas don't age, man. Yeah. They just get rich and move to Miami. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We need to get
bars. Thanks everyone for listening. Get well soon, Jerome, to your ankle as well. This has been the Hello and Welcome podcast presented by Betway. We'll catch you next week.